you down here? Okay. Back with another live stream. Back to work on. I did a little quick check and setting stream just before this, in between my last stream about working on the 8 terabyte USB backup drive, and so I'm back on it now, and hopefully I may have gotten my settings a little better. I ended up turning off the audio delay on the SM58 altogether, and we'll see how that goes. But let me check and make sure everything's it's working good. Okay, so let me go to the desktop, and I opened up the page. Well, that's the page with the comparisons, different file systems that I had opened last time. The page I looked over the wiki page for BTR. Oh, it's btrfs.wiki.kernel.org. I didn't realize that was at kernel.org. So it's the Linux Kernel website. Well, or one of them. I don't know if it's D1, but I remember it for many years. So anyway, I found this section here in the manual pages. This is on checking the file system. I thought, well, how hard is it going to be to do those things, And generally, when you need to check a file system, well, you can do it with gparted. Mostly, like I said, I just do it with FAT32. I usually don't. If you need to check your file system on your Linux system, the one you're running, then you probably have to do it in the command line, because it means there's something wrong, right? And besides that, well, you can't do it while it's mounted, so you really kind of, the only other way you could do it in the GUI is if you boot to a live system, and check it from that live system. You can do it that way with gparted or whatever, but the commands, if they're not too hard, then it's easier just to do it in the command line. But so this file system checker used to verify the structure and integrity of the file system and attempt to repair it if requested. It is recommended to unmount the file system prior to running the check. But in Btrfs, it is possible to start checking a mounted file system. See force. Okay. By default, Btrf check will not modify the device, but you can reaffirm that by the option read only. Btrfs, FSCK, so it's the same program, I guess. Btrfs, well, it's a different program, but FSCK is the one you use for, Ext4 and Ext1, in 2, 3, and 4. Is an alias of of Btrfsck is an alias of Btrfs check. Okay, so the real command is Btrfs space check command, and is now depreciated. I guess I should finish reading my sentences, shouldn't I? So they're just telling you don't use that no more. Okay. Warning: do not use repair unless you are advised to by a developer. Oh, really? Huh. This is their wiki, so. But that must be important. Repair must be able to cause some damage. That's not something I've ever seen on any of the other file system, how-tos and stuff. Okay, again, let's finish our sentence. Okay. Do not use repair unless you're advised to by a developer, an experienced user, or accept the fact that FSCK cannot possibly fix all sorts of damage that could happen to a file system because of software and hardware bugs. Oh, this is really just like a disclaimer then. Okay. Structural integrity check verifies if the internal file system objects or data structures satisfy the constraints, point to the right objects, or are correctly connected together. There are several cross-checks that can detect wrong reference counts of shared extents, back references, missing extents of inodes, directory and inode connectivity, etc. The amount of memory required can be high, depending on the size of the file system. Similarly, the runtime. Okay, it could take a lot of memory and take a while. Okay, safe or advisory options. I guess that's for backing up. Use the first valid set of backup roots stored in the superblock. This can be combined with super if some of the superblocks are damaged. Data checksum. Verify checksums. I'm just going to skip on down. Chunk roots. You're going to have to learn all their terminology to understand everything. Some of it I already know from previous stuff, but like chunk root, yeah, I don't know what that is. Use a given offset. I mean, I got an idea, but fighting there for the chunk tree root, yeah. Okay, progress group tree root. But at least all the commands are right here in the dangerous options. Repair. Dangerous option is actually is repair, which is backwards from Ext4 or any of those others. Enable the repair mode and attempt to fix problems where possible. Huh. Yeah, you got to learn this. You're going to sit here and at least sit here and read this thing over real good before you, and then do what it says here, before you try to work on one. Force, yeah, force is usually a dangerous one to use, period. If you force an action, usually you can't undo it sometimes. Like if you force an install of an RPM in Fedora, you can't undo it. I found that out the hard way. It told me, but I did it anyway. So my Fedora 14 system has a proprietary, I think it's that system, or is it another one? Anyway, I installed a proprietary video driver for a video card, and then I wanted it out later, and I couldn't get it out. I'm sure that you might be able to go in there somehow and delete every file. The thing is, you could delete every file. Maybe I could have found them, but every reference and every config file to it, that would cause all kinds of no telling what. So I left it in there. And it's caused some kind of problem. I can't remember what it was. It's the reason I wanted it out. Okay, so that's the rundown on that command. And what I had done was I looked through let's see. I'll leave that blued in. Maybe I'll be able to find it again. Where are we? We're at the main page of the manual, wiki. Well, I don't know if that's considered the manual here, but it's the wiki for it, Btrfs wiki. And so I think I started searching. Yeah, I started searching, and that was the first one that came up in repair. Oddly enough, that was the thing they're telling you really probably don't want to do that. But I think it's supposed to keep itself repaired, actually. So that's one reason. That's probably one reason why that's not exactly how what you should do. But I'm not going to go through all of that, and oddly, you can convert Ext4 file system to Btrfs, and it tells you go here to find out how. I guess if you had data on there, you could do that. I guess that'd be why I would want to do it. I mean, mine's empty basically. I mean, there's a few files that I don't care if they're deleted. Original wiki documentation obsolete will be removed. Restore and find root. So we won't go look at that. Developer documentation, source code download, articles, presentations, podcast. Oh, video. Well, that might be helpful. It's kind of old, but all that's old. But I guess it's still good, or they would have taken it. It looks like they're maintaining it. Some of these wikis on these projects will be way outdated and they don't maintain them, but this one looks like it is being maintained. Talking about things that are being taken out and everything, except for I'm not seeing any dates. Well, I saw 2017. There's one way to find out. Okay, this page was last modified November the 14th, 2018. That's pretty current. Very good. Okay, so it's an active project. I wasn't sure, how I've heard of it a lot for several years, but I haven't looked into it in a couple of years or three. remember how long it's been now. Actually, I probably, at the time, I remember trying it. Let's see, I had a problem with it. I don't know what it was. Oh, I had a hard drive that had a lot of bad sectors. And maybe this is further back than I realized. And yeah, because I think it was running Ext4 in a Linux distro, which one I don't remember. And it's kept giving trouble, you know, and I think it was getting broken and having to be fixed and stuff. And so I decided I was going to upgrade my operating system, and I decided to, and I noticed that I found out about Btrfs and that you could, it wasn't the default, well, they don't do that now, but they were saying we're working on it and we're gonna make it the default file system for Fedora. And so I thought, well, but you could do it now if you wanted. So I did it. Well, I ran it a little while and it broke, and that's what I kept saying. And there wasn't. You was gonna have to do everything in the command line to work with that file system. And so I decided to reformat and go back to the standard. You know, I think I don't remember if it was Ext3 or if they'd. At that time, I would think at that time they had moved to Ext4 already, but I don't remember now. But I do know once Ext4 came out, I only had trouble one time, and that was recently with the power outages over and over and over. I mean, it was I don't know how many times. Somewhere between 3 and 6 times. I don't know. I was asleep, and I kept waking up hearing everything in here coming back on. You know, like my scanner right there. You can't really see it. Right there, under all that stuff, it's always plugged in. Well, you have to plug it into the wall. It won't get enough power through a power strip, and so it's plugged into the wall, and it goes to sleep real quickly if you're not using it. So it stays plugged in, but it makes noise. It warms up when the power goes out to the house. You know, I mean, of course, that plug, I don't have a switch on that. Well, I have a breaker out in the garage, but so when the power goes out to the house, comes back on, it makes noise when it warms up. Then it goes back to sleep. Well, it kept doing that. So and then other things were making noise too. You know, different things make a little noise. But that thing woke me up. It's so loud. So anyway, like I said before, about a week later, I went out into the garage, and I had seen the IBM was in the garage, you know, which was my server at the time. And I had it in the garage, and it was running. I think I saw it running at least once, maybe a couple times, and it didn't dawn on me that, you know, I'd forgotten about all that. And then about a week after that, after it happened, I found out it was running but not booted up, and file system had been broken. So, but this, of course, is for the Seagate USB backup drive, USB, but it's a hard drive. It's a spinning disk drive. Not a flash memory drive or anything. So, okay, here's the other thing. Let's see. I don't really need that page anymore. I'm going to leave that one open in case I want to go back to it. Btrfs. I'm going to say Fedora Linux. Well, I could have looked over there for that, I guess. But okay, yeah, it took me right back to that same wiki. Okay, let's see. Fedora installer, yeah, provides Btrfs as an option. The Btrfs partition scheme preset creates an Ext4 boot, swap, and a Btrfs pool. 2 subvolumes, root and home, are created from that pool and mounted at root, that would be the root, and then home, respectively. That would be the absolute root of the file system, not to be confused with the root folder for the root user. That was something that took me a while to get used to with Linux. That's not anything like Windows was that I came from. Additional mount points using Btrfs will also have corresponding subvolumes created based on the name field. Some volumes do not have a size so the desired capacity field when creating new mount points is ignored and can be left blank. Oh. Well, this is all good information. What I was wondering is, really what I want to know is, if it fails to mount, try mount O, use backup root. Oh. If that fails, report it to Btrfs mailing list, including the output from Btrfs check without repair. Don't do repair. Okay, so whoops, not what I meant to do. Okay, so getting started with Btrfs. If you, okay, be fast moving target. There are typically great many bug fixes and enhancements between the one kernel release and the next. If you're running a kernel 2 or more versions behind the last one available from kernel.org, first thing you will be asked is, when you report a problem, is to upgrade to the latest kernel. Some distributions keep backports of recent kernels to earlier releases. See the page below for details. Having the latest user space tools are also useful, as they contain additional features and tools which may be of use in debugging or recovering your file system if something goes wrong. Status of Btrfs was experimental for a long time, but the core functionality is considered good enough for daily use. There are a few features being implemented, and these should be considered experimental for a few releases. When the bugs get ironed out, I thought it said ignored, when a number of brave users help stabilizing it. While many people use it reliably, there is still problems being found. You should keep the test backups of your data and be prepared to use them. Well, then I think it's still too experimental. I think I'm glad I saw that. I don't know how I found the date. I guess that one other page just happened to have a date, but I mean, I don't want to go by this if it's old and outdated. That's the thing. But this is still on the BTRF wiki at kernel.org. Okay, it was last modified on last year. But the other page was, modified just this year, like this in the last couple of months. So I would say that's good information. So that's going to be too cutting edge for me to deal with on I want stability on my backup. So I think I already have what I need. I don't think there is anything better to get around me not being able to mount it in Fedora 14. I will have to do something different, which I just said something that makes me realize what I could do. I could mount, for instance, like to do that long backup of all my 3 backup drives. Yeah, 3 backup drives. Well, I have 4 drives, and there's backups on all of them, I think. Yeah, there is, because they're divided. One drive is divided up. It's a 1 terabyte drive, and it's divided up. It has the operating system at the beginning, and the rest is all backup. It's actually the biggest backup. So, but I could boot it up to, live Fedora 29, 28, 29, and then mount the backup drive, the 8 terabyte backup drive, and then I'd have to install and run a Lucky Backup in that live system. That might not be so great. Well, what I could do is go ahead and install Fedora 29 on one of those drives. Let's look at that. Because what was killing my, oh man, I switched over to that camera just for a moment. I thought, because I was talking away and I didn't want to just show the desktop something that didn't pertain to what I was talking about. Well, you just had to listen to. I'm not going to go back. I've spent too long. I messed up again. Darn it. You listened to me talk about stuff that you could have seen ever in great detail. Everything I was talking about. Of course, you probably didn't. You probably didn't watch it. If you were watching the video, that's probably where you skipped ahead or did something. So, man, it's so crappy to have all these nice features in OBS Studio and not have enough brain power to use them right. All right. I thought I was doing good there, and what's really crappy is that there I was reading aloud and not stuttering too bad, and I was happy. I was proud of that in my head while I was doing it. I was like, man, hey, I'm doing a lot better. I was reading better. I'm telling you, I need a producer. I need a producer and a sound guy and a video guy and a switcher. I forgot what you call the guy that does the switching in the TV station. There's a guy that's his job. The job doesn't, you know, it sounds real important, like producer or something, you know, and I don't think that might, no. Well, there's a stage manager, it depends, but, well, the TV station I worked for did live shows every week or every night. Can't remember now. I think they did them every night. And I was a master control operator, and normally I was over at the tower, you know, midnight to 8. But a couple of days they had me come over there to the show, where the show was, and help out, ran a camera a little bit, and I think I don't know if they actually, I think they might have let me switch for just a minute or two. It was hard. It's a lot, even on what was considered a small show, you know. But lots going on, way too much going on all at once. But for me, people talking in your ear and everything, you got a headset on, people are talking, do this, do that, hurry up. Even running camera was hard with them because the guy the one running everything, he was yelling at everybody the whole time. He was a jackass, is what he was. So it made it just pissed me off. Then I can't think about what it is I'm supposed to be doing. But and he thought he was whipping everybody into shape. He thought people were scared of him. He was just making people want to kick his butt, is what he was doing. So anyway, sidetrack again. All right. Why did I come over here? No, I wasn't this bad back then. Not even nowhere near. I was much younger, and I was not good at that, you know. But too much going on, too much talking in my ear and all that. But that's when I was younger, a lot younger. This was in 90, 91, 92, and I was running sound every weekend for bands, and I ran you know, entire shows all by myself every weekend. So with anywhere from 35 people to 3,500 people, you know. Well, generally, no, not quite that many. We couldn't get 1,500 people. Couldn't get 3,500 people in our building. And we did it in 2 different buildings on the property, too. Some really small shows we did in the upper room, I think we called it. It's upstairs room, a smaller room. Anyway, I came here for a reason, and I just don't know what that reason is. How would that be if alien landed on your planet and he said, I came here for a reason, but I forgot completely what that reason was. Okay, well, bye-bye. Yeah, whatever. How's that sound? I don't know. I can't do that sound. Got on here to show and tell. I was talking about Btrfs and what would I how would I back up? Okay, the whole point here was, I'll just go to the file manager. all I wanted to do is just have a view of the when I discovered that, you know, I wasn't showing what I thought it was showing. I discovered that I was showing my camera for 5 or 10 minutes when I thought I was on the desktop. I had that twingy little feeling when I switched to the camera. Maybe I should just leave it, but I was like, oh, I remember. Okay, so here is my drives, and these are my, of course, this one here, 8 terabyte. That one doesn't work. It won't mount. That's what I'm talking about. I set it all up, but it won't work. And I had to make that folder. That's what you have to do in Fedora 14 is make a folder where you want to mount it, and then it'll mount there. See, I can click in there, and I've got my 824 gigabyte backup drive. That's the partition on the 1 terabyte drive. And then that is actually that's a partition too, because there's every one of these drives. I think all of them have an operating system on them of some sort, and some of them I gave more space to the OS, and some I gave a lot less. And so yeah, I've got 1, skip that, 2, 3, and then 4. That is just where I could save Clonezilla images. That's what that's for. That's the folder name it has to be for it to work. That is actually that drive. I installed OpenSUSE and then decided to start using as much of it as I could for backups. So what I did was set up to where I could mount home Dawn there. Well, just the whole home directory. That's the whole home directory for OpenSUSE, and that's why there's Dawn and Tux. There's a default user Tux on there instead of. I wonder if it doesn't have root user. No, that's in the home directory. For some reason, there was a default user Tux, but I didn't want to use it. I wanted to use Dawn like I do on everything else. So maybe that's the way they thought you ought to use it or something. I don't know. Anyway, I have backups in there. That's the one. That's really the main part of it right there, my music. I made sure I had a second, I guess it's kind of the third copy of my music, and all music, you know, not just my personal music, but all the music that I had at the time. Anyway, most of it is my music in there, but so anyway, so if I was going to back all this up, and these are all not far from full. I mean, I might have 10 or 15 gig left, or maybe a little more, like 18 or something. But so that's all quite a good amount of data that I wouldn't want to try to copy over the network. So yeah, if I excuse me, what I was sitting here thinking is I could like reformat. Probably, I guess I should have just opened the disk utility. I thought about that. I mean, it's not important that I show this to anyone, but it's important that I figure out what it is I need to do, or what is it I really can do, want to do. So, PATA host adapter. I don't see that in the other machines, so kind of wonder. Seems like I kind of remember wondering if that was. It makes me think it's a. I guess I'd have to look it up and see what a PATA host adapter is. IDE controller. That's what it says it is. Okay, so maybe that's because this is a machine that has that hard. This is a. That's what it is. That's needed for IDE hard drives, I believe. This one will handle IDEs and SATA, and of course the newer machines only have SATA. Yeah, I think PATA is what IDE drives are. It's the protocol or whatever that they use. There's another one called there's ATA, IDE, and PATA. Those are 3 terms you used to need to be familiar with, and now I don't remember them in great detail, other than IDE. Okay, so this is a 320 gigabyte drive. It has a 27 gigabyte partition, which is divided up in Ext4 swap, and then there's a 293 gigabyte, which is the backup portion of it. So what I could do say for instance, is delete all this because it's probably one of these is Artist X, and it's really old and it won't even really do much anymore. It's so old. So I could delete that. Well, first I really want to back this up first though, because I'd still be scared. You can delete the front partition and not hurt the other one, but there's no guarantee. But I could delete that. What I used to always want to do is delete this and then grow this partition forward to have more space. But now what I would do, now I'm just wanting to back all this up to my new big 8 terabyte hard drive. But what I could do, if I felt brave, I guess, is delete this and then install Fedora 29 on it. Then the machine and the machine right now is triple boot. Yeah, triple boot. It's got Artist X, Fedora 14, and OpenSUSE, a remix of OpenSUSE that I made on their site with their tool they had years ago. And the only one that I care about is Fedora 14. So I could blow off, the ones that I don't care about. It wouldn't be OpenSUSE because it's all mingled in with my backups. But this one is separate. See, so this is probably the Artist X one, I'm going to say. And so if I could install that, and then I could boot to. I hadn't thought about that. I could boot to Fedora 29 and, do my backups and do what I need to do. It's only a dual core machines, and it has 3 gig of RAM instead of just 2 like those others. Well, it's a dual core, not a single core. It would run probably fine with XFCE desktop. Okay, now there's another PATA adapter, parallel. Oh, parallel ATA. That's what that stands for. Parallel ATA. Oh, and that's the SATA controller, SATA controller. This one is the IDE controller, so that's what those are. Okay, now I'm beginning to catch on. Could be just that this is an older version of the disk utility, or I don't know if this is an older version of the same one on my Fedora 29, or it's actually a different application. That one says disk utility. I forgot what the other one said. Either just says disks or disk utility. But I think this one is Genome disks. The other one, not quite sure. This one, maybe they are the same one, because neither one of them, this one doesn't have any of that stuff I said was missing in the new one. This one actually has less. It doesn't have a place to go. Oh, there it is, right there, help about. Disk utility. Oh, this is Red Hat disk utility. It's not even the Fedora app, it's Red Hat. You don't usually see Red Hat on apps. You usually see Fedora or Genome or KDE or whoever made it. Okay, so this one is Red Hat disk. I probably remembered it wrong. I'm going to have to admit that's probably always. This has always been Red Hat disk utility. But there you go. You can go some of the normal menus. Connect to a server. Connect to a server and remotely admin a disk. Wow. RAID array. Create a RAID array. Of course, can you do that with this in here? Huh. A software RAID with this? I had that ability and never knew it, or capability. Not ability, but capability, because I didn't know. I just now beginning to really, I learned about them years ago and had it kind of in my head for a while, and then, of course, it slipped away because I never used it, but right there, Stripe, whatever, RAID 0, RAID 1, okay, so you can do RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 5 and 6 are supposed to be the ones that are the most useful, the best kind to have, the most secure, generally, most commonly used. RAID 0 is just no security. And RAID 1, I guess, is a mirror, just 2, which is the only one I could ever do with just a few disks I have. But you need 2 disks of the exact same size. Well, you do with hardware RAIDs. With software RAIDs, you might not. But, yeah, insufficient number of disks to create one at all. Okay. Doesn't matter which one I select. Of course, you can't do a RAID 5. But it says right down there, insufficient number of disks to complete a RAID 0 array. I was just fixing to say, I guess even to do a RAID 0, you still have to have stripe size. I don't remember what that means. I don't remember enough about it. An array size. Maybe I'm sure I saw this at one point, and Oh, no free space, no free space. Oh, they have to have free space. See, I've got partitions all the way from one end to the other, so I'd have to make free space, and then you could do it, I guess. Okay, so it is a software RAID, of course. Well, it has to be. Wow. I didn't realize that I could have done that, or I forgot that I could have done that. But the way, yeah, but what you could do, well, the thing is, you could do like a RAID. We could do like I was saying, probably a RAID 1 and have, then you'd have a mirror. You'd have 2 copies of all your data. That would still take up twice as much space, and I've never had that much space to be able to do that. But, so anyway, this one, yeah, that was the one I was talking about. And then this one has 524 at the beginning. That would be the boot partition. It used to only be 524. Now it's a gig. And then, yeah, LVM2. Okay, so Fedora 14 is LVM2 as well. I was saying earlier I couldn't remember where it started, so it's LVM2. So this might be OpenSUSE, maybe. Disk is healthy. I can't remember now. It could be the Fedora 14 system. I can't remember which one has what on it anymore. And then this one has 21 gigabyte Ext4 at the beginning. So that is, now that one maybe, I'm going around and around over and over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That's okay, this is OpenSUSE because it has a 90 gigabyte on there. Okay. But why it has 21 at the front, I'm not sure. That's pretty big at the front. And then 90 gigabytes. Maybe that is its, oh, if I would look, it would tell me. Dev SDC should tell me whether it's a root or what. It doesn't say. It's bootable because there's something bootable on here somewhere, right here. I just remember that 90 gigabyte as being, that's where that music is I was showing a while ago. Then that is a swap. So yeah, and this is an operating system. Maybe that's OpenSUSE. Oh, there it is, right there. 90 gigabyte OpenSUSE. This must be the root partition. I guess it's divided up. It should have a boot partition somewhere. Maybe it's built. Maybe it's not a separate partition like Fedora. It must be root and boot together, then home, and then swap. And then this is the 824 gigabyte backups. Now I always wanted to get rid of these front ones and grow this one to the full 1 terabyte. I really needed that space, but I had my music in here. Well, I mean, I have more than, that's the second backup of it. You know, that's the backup of the, I think this is the second backup. I can't remember now, but anyway. This is why I would like to back up everything and straighten all this mess out. It's really a mess. It turned, little by little, you know, I like, oh, I need more space. Where can I put it? Okay, I'll stick it over here, you know. Oh, okay, I'll stick it over there. This is another boot partition, and that is, doesn't say, that's an LVM, so that is not a backup drive. So how many do I have? That has OpenSUSE on it. That one, that's not the same. No, it's not the same drive. That's a Hitachi. That one is a can't tell the brand of it by just looking at it. But knowing the brands helps sometimes too. Or just kind of looking at the model. ST, that's a Seagate. ST is a Seagate. That's a Seagate. And that is a Hitachi. And that one is a Western Digital. So I've got 3 320s and a 1 terabyte in there. They're all 320. I didn't realize all of those were the same size. Those could be made into a RAID, those 320s. A hardware RAID even, but well, they couldn't. I mean, you'd have to have a pretty old, I think some of them are like, well, I know this one is an SATA. I think it tells you somewhere in all this stuff what type of drive it is too. be careful when click on something and mess it up. But yeah, that's an option that I hadn't thought of lately, or since the Ext4 wouldn't boot on here. Worked so hard yesterday, well, and today, trying to figure out what to do to get either get it to boot, or yesterday to get it to boot on here. I mean, not boot, mount on here, or today thinking about changing to different file system. I've picked the right file system for everything I need. It would be nice to have the features of Btrfs, but it's I didn't realize it was still that experimental. But I guess their development's taking longer than they thought it would. Kind of like the way everything goes for me. So, but you can see that that's 4 hard drives, and all I really need is just one of them on this machine. Whichever one has Fedora 14 is the one I would probably leave in here. And if I got everything backed up, then I could brave that, trying to grow, the drive and give it more space if I need to on the Fedora 14 system. It takes a lot of going back and forth to figure out, or a lot of checking to figure out which one has got what operating system on it. I think what I could, well, if I'd pay more attention to what it says in here, when I also get into Gparted, that one doesn't have a label. Oh, wait. Yeah, that one doesn't say anything about the operating system. It might be in Gparted where I see that always, like the operating system and stuff that I have on it. Well, let's see. Well, this one did. Of course, that one just says, it's where it mounts. This one, I saw it a minute ago. Let's swap. Somewhere, one of the, maybe this is not the one that is OpenSUSE. The one that has OpenSUSE on it, it said so. I saw that. Oh, I guess that was the beginning of the one. Yeah, the 1 terabyte. There it is. OpenSUSE. I gave it the name. See, that's where I mounted the home directory. So that's the home directory for OpenSUSE, and I gave it that. That's a commit system. Okay, so that, I don't know why. That's why I decided to do that. Why I thought it was important enough to take up space on my brand new 1 terabyte drive, but that's what I did at the time, knowing that I was playing with it and probably not going to keep it. I think maybe there is an app on this system that you can enlarge and shrink and enlarge LVMs theoretically anyway without losing data. But then, of course, when you get ready to do it, it says make sure you back up because something could happen. And so I take heed to that, and so I never did it. But I think I'm almost certain I had in my head that, oh, well, I could put that on there and then take it off later. No big deal, because I knew I had that application. And let me close that, and I'll show that application just for the fun of it. I think, yeah, there it is right there, logical volume management. I don't think it would work on an LVM2. I think I already, well, no, I couldn't try it, but it would only work on this older, well, this is LVM2 that I think it'd still be too old. I don't think it would work on Fedora 28 or 29 or anything like that. I don't even think it'd even work on Fedora. You can't install it. It's not available. Can't install it on the newer systems. It's not even available. But it's pretty cool. You can pretty well figure out how to use it by just looking through it. Not too long ago I did that in a video, so I won't do it again right now. But there's the physical volume, SSD, Partition 2, swap, 294 gigabyte backups. There's another. I don't know which. Oh, see that one. It says Fedora 14. The name. See, in some of the apps you see the name. So that says VG RedBlackBioStar Fedora 14. So and then how it's divided up. And I forgot. Oh, physical volume, logical volume. It just tells you how they go together. What's what. That's the root of Fedora 14. That's the swap of Fedora 14. And yeah, physically it's on the end now, and in the logical volume it's in the between root, LV swap, and then home. Yeah, so that's my Fedora 14 system. That's just an entire drive. I don't guess it has any backup. So whichever drive that is, and I could probably figure that out. VGU UID. That doesn't look like it would tell me. But I could probably figure it out in gparted. I'm sure I could. In here, I'm not sure I'm seeing one. And then you can get out that view all by itself and all that. So anyway, yeah. And then some of these others don't have LVMs, like the other drives, the ones that are just backup drives, they don't have LVMs. So there's two drives that have LVMs, the BioStar, and then what's this one? 294 gigabyte backup. It has an LVM. It has a swap on it. I don't know why it has a swap on it. It does. It just says Dev Fedora 294 gigabyte backup. And it has swap. So I'm not sure why it's named like that or anything, why I did that. I did it. Just been a long time. Okay, so uninitialized. I think it's saying it's uninitialized. It's not initialized because it's not an LVM. And LVMs are the ones that you initialize and, you know, they're activated or deactivated. At least that's the terminology I remember from it. And then if it's a regular primary partition, then it's mounted or unmounted, you know. But LVMs, they can be mounted or unmounted, but they also are initialized and uninitialized, not initialized, whatever. So I want to get out of there because that thing can do harm. Anyway, you're supposed to be able to resize them without losing data if you have free space on the drive. So if I went in there and deleted the OpenSUSE partitions or whatever, whichever one that I know ArtistX is on one of them somewhere, and deleted it, then I would have room to get back, you know. So when I had my break, I went in and I decided I was pretty hungry, so I decided I just ate what I thought what looked interesting. So I ended up having, first I was just going to like, oh, I'll eat a protein bar. No, I'm actually hungry. So I ate what was interesting, and usually for my supper I eat chicken patties because they last longer. Lots of protein, lasts longer. I don't wake up having to have a snack in the middle of the night. And I thought, well, it was about noon. So, yeah, it was about noon. It's already 4 or something. I knew I was getting tired. And I may end up having supper, but I had breakfast. I woke up at 3. Had breakfast. I didn't really stay up, you know, laid back down, but I didn't go to sleep. And then I had breakfast at about 4:30. Then I had a lunch at about 9 in the morning, and then I had, I guess, the second lunch at noon because I figure it's already, yeah, if I had lunch, ate at around noon, 12:30 or whatever, you know, when I actually ate. Oh, no, it was 1 something when I was sitting here eating. Yeah, it was 1 something. It could have been way after 1, even like 1:55. I remember looking at the clock going, wow, I didn't know it was that late. But I didn't pay close attention to how many minutes after 1 it was. So now it's 4:18. Well, if I keep going a while, then I'll probably need to eat again. So maybe I'll eat my chicken. If I don't eat, you know, I'm not going to eat it if I'm not hungry, for sure. But if I get hungry again, I'll eat my chicken before bed. I always do better on, because what I ate was something I don't usually eat. I ate Polish kielbasa, stuck it in the microwave until it cooked it in there, and then put it on toasted bread, Fritos, pecani sauce, and that's it. Oh, cheese. I know I was going to say, I thought, I have to have cheese. I can't eat without cheese. I had cheese sticks, mozzarella cheese sticks, or they call them, what do they call them? Cheese sticks, that's what they call them. Okay, so this one, yeah, okay, and here it's it's actually not so easy to tell what. Okay, I couldn't remember. Sometimes if there's a name that gives it away, you'll know what operating system it is. But yeah, this one doesn't have any names that gives it away, other than the backup, and then I gave it that, of course. Well, that's the mount point is what it is. But the folder I get, that folder I mounted it in tells me what it is. And that's actually at dev SDA on this system, and which is normally your main boot drive, but I had to set it up, the grub up to boot to the one I wanted. It was because of the first drive. The first one I put in the system and set up, it probably used to have an operating system on it, and then I reformatted it. Is what happened, I imagine, along the way, And then this one, it's just Ext4 and LVM. That probably is the Fedora 14 system. And then the next one's going a little slow. It kind of scared me. I thought, am I going to mess something up? This one is, okay, that's OpenSUSE. I can tell by that, and that's on that 1 terabyte drive. And then this one, that's another one that could possibly be Fedora. Huh. That's the whole drive being used for an operating system. We'll go back to B, and so is that one. I do not know what's on there. All right, well, anyway, that's not what's important right now. I thought that was going to clear it up in my head here. Yeah, I have to go back and forth between 2 or 3 apps to maybe. I went through 3, but actually I'm tired enough that I'm not putting it all together in my head. You can't figure out which drive. I mean, I would quickly find out what operating systems are on there. For sure, by rebooting it, and I just use the arrow key to get it to halt, and then go up and down and look through the entry, the grub entries. But okay, so go ahead and get off the remote desktop. I don't need to. Let's see. I don't know if I left anything running that I don't want running on there. That's the servers. That's why it's running right now. It's the server until can't type and talk. That's the server until I get my NetPro Max set up and put back out in the garage. Okay, yeah, no extra things running. It still has a boot error because I had that. I need to make sure that's. I kept turning that on and turning it off. Shouldn't be. Yeah, there must be a boot. I must have tried one more time. So I need to get into NTFS tab and edit that. Comment out that entry for the 8 terabyte drive because it's not going to work. And this, for some reason, Crusader in Fedora 14 takes a good long time to open up. It's not all that fast, I guess, in Fedora 28 either. And I was going to, yeah, I should. I'm going to delete that that folder there. I don't think you can do it. See if I can. Yeah, you got to have root privileges. So get in as I was going to do that anyway to edit FS tab. Got to be really, really careful. That would be deleting all the contents of a drive if I delete the wrong thing. Make sure it's empty. Before I even, yeah, let's do it. No, let's don't do it now. Let's go over here and get into ETCFS tab. I was thinking about leaving it in there, but I think later on it will confuse me. Oh, no, it's commented out right there. I guess I haven't rebooted it. I went ahead and edited this, but I haven't rebooted the system since the last time I tried to mount that drive in there with this turned on, you know. Okay. I guess I really should just go ahead and do that. Now, 8 terabyte. Yeah, if I need that later, don't want, yeah, 8 terabyte backup. I'm going ahead and make a screenshot of that. So I'll have some way of knowing what I've done besides just having to watch, find it in this video. Okay. There. Now, I scares the living crap out of me. God, it scares me. Gotta make sure they're all still there. As tired as I am, how would I know that what I'm looking at is? And that's another reason why I like to go somewhere besides. I tried to type. Oh, I'm in root mode. Yeah, I see why I was in there now. I'll just leave it in the backups folder there. Okay. I like to leave. I don't like to, especially in root. I don't like to leave it in something that could just destroy lots of data. You know. Quit the. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and reboot it. What is that? Oh, I was moving that camera around earlier. That camera 1 and the USB cable got down in front of my KVM switch. And I don't even need to be fiddling with that. I was thinking I had to switch the KVM switch, but I don't have to switch the Don't have to switch the KVM switch. I just need to go over here. I wanted to go over here and get on the camera, and then we can. Yeah, okay. Now I can switch the KVM switch. Yeah, I'll go ahead and close the remote desktop. I'm on camera 2, and I'll go to the machine and reboot it. That cable's really in the way like that, but I think I'll live, I guess. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and reboot it. Actually, oh, I didn't get on the right spot on the KVM switch. It seems to me like that ought to be machine number 1, but I'm not sure what machine number 1 is. Oh, machine number 1 right now is Mom's machine down in the rack. I guess what it was before was the laptop. I used to keep it plugged into the laptop. Well, either the rack, it's always been, that one cable has always been either for the rack or the laptop, which makes sense left to right, you know. Rack's on the left, and then, and then the Lenovo i5 is in the rack, so it's number 2, and it always stays plugged in. That's my main machine, and then the RedBlackBioStar is number 3, and then the used to be the IBM server was number 4. Now it's the NetPro Max right now while I'm working on it, and then I guess I'll put the IBM back in there because it's quiet, and if I want to use it for something, I could use it. So, am I ready to reboot now? Okay, my FS tab file's good. I want to reboot it. Oh, no, I'm not ready to reboot. I don't want to leave the Vino. It was doing fine though. It didn't seem to be making it work real hard, but I don't want I don't want it because I don't have that port open though to the internet. Yeah, I don't have the VNC port open to the internet, but still, just to make sure the machine doesn't somehow. Vino was acting crazy and making the machine work real hard, and it made me think, oh no, somebody's hammering that trying to log in. But then at some point I remembered, oh, I don't have that port. The port's only open on the local network, not to the internet, you know. So, but anyway, I'll just turn it on and off as I need it. And I forgot and left it on yesterday, which is no big deal, but it could have made the machine work hard and make more heat and noise and stuff. You know, that's the main thing, is the heat and the noise. Okay, so that's turned off. Restart. Once it gets booted back up, I'll log into it. And then that's a beautiful car. That's an electric car, one of the earliest electric cars. I think that might be an Edison electric car. I remember, that was I saved that picture from a story somewhere. But and notice those guys are all in suits. You know, most hot rodders don't wear suits, right? Well, that's not a hot rod crowd. That's a bunch of rich guys that can afford to buy that thing. And I think they're all there because they all have their own cars there. They either got their cars there, all these, multi-million-dollar old cars, or they are looking to buy one. Those are like Jay Leno's granddaddies. They make him look like a young dude. In that picture, judging by that picture, of course, just because they all got gray head doesn't mean they're all that old. I got friends that are 10 years younger than me that's got super gray hair and have had for at least 5 years, back when I still had a little more hair. Okay, I'll just go ahead and get the terminal to show instead of the pretty blue lines, different shades of blue. At least that had a little variety to it. What they got now on the newer versions, I don't think it has any variety whatsoever. But one thing I'm surprised at is that the RedBlackBioStar is not as loud as I thought it was going to be. And well, I was thinking it hasn't been. When the weather's cold, it's not bad about heating me out of this room. But this week, 3 days here, last 3 days, it's been warm, pretty warm, and it has been. Been getting 80 and a half degrees 2-3 days in a row. It's 79 right now with the window open quite a bit, but I feel a nice breeze. It must be breezy outside and cool. I don't know what it is outside right now. Well, 61. Oddly enough, I'm more comfortable today than yesterday when it was 55 all day. They must have had the heater up higher yesterday. I went and looked. It was killing me, and I finally went and looked. And it was only set on 76, and it was nice in the rest of the house. It was just hot in here. I didn't touch the heater. Well, I knew if I bothered, it would make my mom cold, so I didn't want to do that. Let's see. Log in. Yeah, she gets cold at 76. At 75. But in the summer, she sets the air conditioner on 75. Of course, it doesn't really, well, you get 75 in there where the thermostat is. Well, the rest of the house, of course, isn't. I think it's just a frame of mind. That's what I think. Not for me, for everybody else. I saw the little electric car again in my preview over there. And then it's what it does is when that app, Wallpapers, the one that changes the desktop backgrounds, when you reboot, that's a lot of soldering right there. When you reboot, it will come up with the last picture, and then it will change it within like 10 seconds of it rebooting, or maybe 30. I was talking away, but anyway, yeah, I just thought that was the coolest. I really was getting into learning how to build circuit boards, and I don't know that this one is old. It's actually could be new. People build their own all the time now, and they do different methods. This is one where they made their traces out of solder, It's a through-hole board where they can solder components on, but there are traces that connect each, circuit path is made out of solder. That's the hard way, I would think. But so there we go. We're booted back up on the server. I just wanted to get that done while I was thinking about it. Did you hear that? I was leaned all the way up with my throat over the mic, and then all of a sudden I had a burp that could not be held back. It was an involuntary. I promise. I promise. Now my sound went real. My preview got really loud again, and earlier it was too quiet. Now it's loud. Okay, so go back to our desktop, I guess, for a minute. Okay, so our 8 terabyte volume, I'll open up Crusader, is it's been mounting faithfully, I mean, well, I haven't, I did reboot. It mounts on boot just like it should. And there's a file that I copied over there from XP in the virtual machine. And the pictures that I copied over, let's just open them up for a second, just not because they pertain to anything. Well, actually, I guess they do. This is the ID that it has. Instead of Seagate expansion drive that came, see that's the 5 gigabyte one there. That's what it did look like before I reformatted it, and what it defaulted back to was giving it that. That's the UUID actually. Yeah. See, if the folder that this is organized in is it says root dev, but I wish they wouldn't do that. I just want to see the actual folders it's in, not. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. Root dev. I know where it is. It's in the root of the operating system. Like that one / and then disk. Dev. It's in disk. I can't say it. Dev disk by label. I guess I would have to go there to get it straight. Let's just do that. Okay, see, there we are. We're in. Used to, Crusader did not have this word here like that. That's what you have. That's what I want. I bet you there's a way to tell it to do that. When you click in there, it does that. That's what I want. That's what I grew up with. I don't need names of everything that just confuses things, because what that makes me think is, oh, I'm in the root directory, of the root user. And see, there's what I was talking about. / root / that's the root directory. You can't go in there, but that's it. And then this is the root directory of the entire operating system. It's plain and simple / and when you click up there, it shows you where you're really at. I don't know why they've always got to be in proof. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and for God's sake, don't make it more complicated. Dang, people. All right, now when I get tired, I get cranky sometimes. Okay, so what's confusing me? For no good reason. I'm old. Give me a break. Where was I going? Okay. Dev. They're not in alphabetical order, but it's still disk, and then by label, or by UUID, or by label. It was by UUID. There's where it is right there. That's all the disks, UUID. So that's what it's identifying it by. It can be ID, which is another. Some of them are just a bunch of long numbers, letters and numbers, and some of them actually have a name in there. See, like that, Fedora, Lenovo i5 swap, root, Seagate expansion, disk. It says disk instead of disk. I don't know why it says that. Because it's a desktop disk? Don't tell me that the people who built this don't know how to spell disk. Because, they might not. know the different, know it right, because of course it was made in. Actually, I think these are made in Malaysia. Can't blame it on China this time. Okay. Then LVM, but see these. If you were, you definitely. I couldn't never remember. Look how long that one is. It won't even fit in the window. So I couldn't remember those. So when you're setting up your ETCFS tab yourself, if it's not done automatically, I wouldn't choose those because of that. Whoops, disk. But you can tell it. You can use any. I think any of these. It's all. I mean, like if I was able to think straight enough, I could show you the same drive by the different mount points, I guess you could say, or IDs or whatever. I don't know why it's that way. That's just how it is. And then there's another one, a whole nother thing. That's by path. That's the path. How can that be a path? That's nothing like any path I've ever seen, but that is the path. And then part UUID, partition UUID. Okay, that's what that is. By partition label. The only one that's even in there is Seagate, and I don't know which one it is. It may be this one, because the 8 terabyte drive, because it's mounted and the other one's not right now. I think some of these come and go as to what drives are actually mounted. Well, not all of them. See, that's pretty much every drive I think that's ever been in the thing right there. It looks to me like that's a lot of drives there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that might be the same kind of situation. That could be, you know, USB sticks, SD cards. Because I only have two. Well, I have three. You know, 3 drive actual. You know, 3. I have the 5 terabyte, the 8 terabyte, and the hard drive, the 250 gigabyte hard drive that's in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What are those? Well, they must be my SD card or USB sticks, is all I can imagine. Then maybe they go away after a while because. But I do know. I was looking. That's why what got me, you know, into looking at this just now. Let's get out of that folder. I want to stay in there. I don't like staying there either. I want to see that to make sure my backup video is working, but I don't want to stay selected over there in case I accidentally hit something and hit the delete key. But see, I found, I copied the number and then did a search over here for it and found it, and it turned out it was the top one. And yeah, anybody with good eyes could see that. We, you know, with them highlighted, you can probably kind of tell. I can kind of tell with them highlighted, but before, no, I couldn't tell. My eyes just can't do that. I could try really, really hard and probably get it right, but if any of them were even close to being similar, I would screw it up. If I was trying to do something that actually mattered, you know. And yeah, these are just some other, you know, screenshots and stuff. So I had just copied them over there just to try writing to the disk, and then I thought, well, you know, those might be helpful, and I might, because I was going to plug it into the Fedora 14 system, and then I found out it wouldn't mount, you know. Actually, I ended up copying some of the errors, you know, over there from it not mounting. Well, it didn't mount in here once, and then after I rebooted, it mounted. I plugged it in, it wouldn't mount, and then I rebooted, and it was fine. Can't remember exactly. I don't know if I ever figured out why. I was gonna I didn't think it was necessary to show that, but we'll show what I'm talking about it now. Let's see. Yeah, right there. Access denied. Could not write to run media, and that's it. See. Oh, I was trying to copy. That's where I was trying to copy this little potato. That actually grew like that. Copy that to the drive, and it wouldn't access denied. That's what that's all about. So I could not write to it. That's where the actual where I was trying to do it at. You know, in Crusader. I tried it both ways. That's what I did. I tried it in there with using straight from WinView. Couldn't do it. So I tried it with Crusader. Couldn't do it. And what I did is go on and get in Crusader root mode and change the file permissions on the whole. I was able to do it on the whole drive, and there's only one folder in there, and then I could do it. I gave it world read and writable. Then I was good. And then this is where I was researching. I found a place, a GUI to edit the ETCFS tab file well, that's what I was calling Genome Disk. I guess it's actually Red Hat Disk. I'm pretty sure this is the same app, just the new version of it, the one that I was showing in Fedora 14 a while ago. it sure works almost identical. It's a little different, you know, like it has a menu over here with more drop downs. It does not have the help menu. If it does, I'm missing it, where you can see, you know, the name of the app. Maybe it's in there and I forgot to go to help. But anyway, I realized that I was thinking that was going to do something to the disk itself, and then I realized that's the FS tab file. So I quit filling around with it before I messed something up. That's actually auto. Well, I haven't ever put an actual. Well, you can't. There's not enough. That machine. This machine just doesn't have a. I tried to figure out a way to do it, and I saw a way I could kind of hack one in there, but I didn't want to do that. So I don't. It doesn't need to. It only has a brick power supply. It could be too much draw on it to put just 2 hard drives in it, much less. If there's anything I wanted to hack in there, it would be a video card. So it only has 1 PCI slot. So thing to do, you can buy USB video cards that are got more memory and more powerful than a 256 onboard. So if I ever wanted to do that, I could just do that. But it works good enough. I can watch my YouTube videos for 2 or 3 hours, and then if it gets tired, I'll just reboot the machine when its video memory starts filling up. So you can hit escape on that app, and it just flat closes, which is kind of handy. So I'm so tired. Another day of not actually getting any real stuff done, unless there's one thing I could try to do. I just remembered. I'm too tired to do it, but I'll show it. This is what I guess I'll do. Go to the downloads folder just to get. Oh yeah, I forgot I downloaded that ISO. So let's put that in my gparted. Okay, well let's make it a little folder of its own. I don't want that to. I don't have the backup drive. Oh, I don't want to rename that. I don't have the backup drive plugged in, so I didn't get a backup this time. So let's do it like that. Actually, I think I'll do it like this. So it will stand out that I can really tell what it is. But I'm going to put that over there. I'm going to have to try that out. It could end up being useful. If you needed added partitions on a machine that only has 1 hard drive, for instance, then you could just boot up to that, and it's not very big either. You wouldn't have to take up a lot of space on your USB or whatever. You could put it on CD if you wanted to, and boot up to that, and USB CD or SD card or whatever, and edit your partitions. And so that's why I went ahead and downloaded that. I found it by accident while I was working away. But anyway, I don't have the 5 terabyte plugged in. I got to remember to do that so that it'll be automatically backed up whenever I reboot the machine next time. Right now, I didn't want it in there because I didn't want to have the chance of messing it up. You know, while I thought I might be going to reformat this to Btrfs. It's 8 terabyte, but I'm not now. But go to Lucky Backup. I always do that. I click and start typing. It doesn't come up that fast. Because say you have, with Lucky Backup, you get Lucky Backup regular user and Lucky Backup super user, and it's you know, supposed to be able to let me think. Let's go into super user and see what's in there. I'll just get there and then I'll start explaining. Okay, yeah. So I think let me look. So yeah, default Dawn. Okay, so what happened was I forgot, and what you need to do for it to be able to auto backup on boot is you need to set your profiles up in super user mode.
so that it can be run as a cron job. Oh, that's yellow, and because my 4.5 gigabyte. I spelled that wrong. I wrote that wrong. That's supposed to be terabyte. That's been wrong all this time. And there's my backups I made for my phones. I got that right. 4.5 terabyte. TV. Okay. Yeah. See, I've been using, and that's a whole other subject. But part of what I thought I would have gotten done yesterday. But anyway, that's yellow with a caution flag. It won't be done, is what it's going to say. Critical error is empty or does not exist. It's because the drive is not turned on. It's plugged in, but it's not powered up. The AC power is not plugged in, so the drive's not running. But it would run and back everything up the way I have it set on those two profiles. I don't have these checked because I only use those manually when I have my phone SD cards plugged in to the USB adapter. But that is what I'll probably end up doing, unless there is one other thing I thought about trying to do is editing that. I'll probably either I'm going to have to take my SD cards out of my phones. Seems like I have too many there. Phone 3 SD card to 4.5. Phone 3 internal storage. Oh, well, that's why. Phone 2 SD card. Phone 2 internal storage. Yeah, and then phone 1, same thing. So that's why there's so many of them. But you can do SFTP with Lucky Backup. So I have it as local, with the SD card flat actually plugged into the USB. But the destination could be, instead of, this, well, that's the Seagate. Oh, that's backing up the extension. Instead of the source being run media, that's with that card plugged in, SD card plugged in, you can make it, you have to do, what is it you have to do? Oh, remote. You click here, go to remote, use remote host, and you have to say, I can just show you, but get it to where you click on that, and then it'll let you. And you have to set up keys, a private and public keys and all that stuff on the. I'd have to do it on the phones, and I'd have to do it on this machine. We'll already have them on this machine, so I'd have to do it on the phones, and then it would work. And I have to follow the instructions on their website to get it right. To me, it's not that hard, not that complicated, but you have to get all the steps right. And so, and you can use, well, you could use, maybe you still can, you can use an rsync password file, or you can use an SSH port, which is what I was talking about, and use a private key file. That's what I did. I think I tried it the other way, and I couldn't figure that out. But with that's actually not too complicated, but I do need the instructions to do it. I couldn't, even if I wasn't tired, I couldn't do this. But that's just what I was thinking I should do, because then all I got to do is turn on SSH Droid and do it over and it should work. But I can also do it with FileZilla. I think I've done it a couple of times recently. I forgot that the other day, that I think FileZilla works pretty good, and you don't have to set all this up. But there's a lot of good instructions right there. If you just hover over each spot, it gives you a good idea. Okay, you click either destination. See, what am I in? Let's see. Okay, I would be not the destination. I would be the source I'd want to put in there. So the source would be my user would be my user on my phone, and then the IP address of the phone. And actually, I have my router set to always give them the same IP address, so that would stay the same, and I could set that up, and it would last until I change things in my router. So that would be really a good way to back up your phones. You could even, well, you could do it automatically, but only, of course, it wouldn't work unless you had the SSH server run on your phones, and you wouldn't want that running all the time. So, if I set all that up, I would do it manually when I was ready to do it, not automatic. You could,
you could leave it set to run every day on every boot, like I do with the rest of this. You can have it set to run every day at a certain time, or run, which wouldn't work good for me because I'm never on the same schedule. I set to run 10 minutes after boot. And then if you remembered to turn on SSH Droid, you know, the server on your phone before you turned on your machine here, if you like say one day, oh, I want to back up my phones, then turn them all on, you know, like if you have 3 like me, turn them all on, boot up your machine, and turn them all on and open up SSH Droid and get that you know, SSH server running, and then boot up your machine, and 10 minutes after that it would, well, of course I think it does in whatever order they are in here, but anyway, it would back everything up, including your phones. That would be something I'm actually really interested in doing. That'd be cool. And you can save these profiles once you get them built, and export them and import them. So, or task, I guess they're called tasks. Somewhere you can do it. I right-click to see if something would come up, but it didn't. Oh, there it is, profile. Export, import. And the task, not quite sure, I forgot, I'm tired. Okay, so anyway, yeah, there's actually, the only thing wrong with these two is that I don't have the drive plug-in. So that wasn't what I got in there for, but yeah, then the other way would be to back up to the, when I get back to doing that. And you can also do that with any kind of backup, but I tell you what, this is much more trustworthy than, well, doing it basically with, if you're doing FileZilla, it's going to be, I used to do it all with Crusader, and Crusader says it doesn't support, and maybe if I didn't set up my SSH keys and all that right last time I tried it, but I did try it and it didn't work last time. I did it in Fedora 23, but in Fedora 28 I haven't ever got it working. I only tried once, but that I remember, maybe twice. But and I guess that's because, let me close this now. No, I do not want to save it. Anything I did in there, I don't want saved. FileZilla is what I've been using, and I actually started, that comes with Fedora now by default. So, and it is good, and I've used it on and off for years. Takes a while to open up, I guess, but it does not work the way Crusader File Manager does. Not even close, really. And so when I'm in here with a remote connection and I'm trying to copy files, and you got to pay attention because it uses the terms download and upload, and you have to, like if I was connected to something, you'd right click and do, it's not highlighted now, but you do upload. Well, if you're on the local side, it's upload, I think, and if you're on the remote side, it's download, which makes sense. At least it's like the internet, like it would really be on the internet. But when you hit enter, sometimes instead of, like if I'm right there and I hit enter, well, it went in there. Now, if I'm in another place, maybe if I'm on this side, I guess, if I hit enter, it says, do you want to open up a new connection? And I'm like, what? And so I can't work the way I'm so used to working. And you have to really pay attention when it says, okay, this file already exists, what do you want to do? And there's a list of what you can do. And the closest thing to a regular syncing that I see in it is overwrite if the file size has changed or if it's newer, I believe. Yeah, if the file you're downloading is newer. Seems to work out okay, but, and then the other thing, let's see, I can't remember. I think you get, well, I can't remember for sure. I think it depends on how you do your download. Say if you're, you'll get today's date instead of the actual date of the file, and that screws everything up for my syncing and backing up. So yeah, although I could do this to back up, I wouldn't do a large amount of data, but my phones is what I was thinking. I think I have done that before. It's easy I've made some big mistakes before, getting them in wrong folders or overwriting things I didn't mean to overwrite or not overwriting things I wanted to overwrite. because it's so different. It still, I think, probably gives you more options to be more accurate than Crusader, because Crusader's sync, they tell you when you go to their site, or they did, I don't know, unless they've started working on it again, they were saying, we're really not, we're kind of like they wanted to quit having it on there. So let's say, for instance, if I wanted to go to pictures, let's say I wanted to sync that folder, and this, I won't just hit sync because I don't want to get all of that. So let's say I wanted to just sync that folder with the one that's there. I would right click, synchronize selected files, and and it's already set to go right to left. You can do right to left to right, or both ways. That's cool. But you got, and this, the way I have this is usually works, you know, pretty well. There's a few other recurse subfolders, of course, you know. Ignore date. I wouldn't want to do that. That's important to have the date. And you might overwrite a newer file with an older one, you know. Follow symlinks. That can be helpful, and it can be a bag of worms. So asymmetric, I forgot what that exactly means, but I don't usually want it. I've looked it up how many times, and then compare by content is great, but it takes for freaking ever. I mean, I think even if I just did all these screenshots, it would take forever. If it's text files, that would be a place where it could be quite useful, but it's still going to take a while. Ignore case, usually don't want to do that either. This is all what you're wanting to get done. But anyway, you can hit compare, and there'll be a lot because there's just a few files in there. Now I could hit synchronize, and it would copy them all over there. But I don't really want to do that right now, so I was just making an example. So anyway, I like that is an easy to use thing, but but it is not a true backup. I don't know how to say it right now. Lucky Backup is probably, from what I remember reading and how it works and what it does, Lucky Backup is the truest, the most accurate way to get your backups. You know, you'll get your, it does checksum. Okay, it does a checksum. See, now Crusader doesn't do checksums of the files. It's kind of the old-fashioned sync, and so they kind of recommend use something better. But you can use it if you want, but you should use something better. And Lucky Backup would be something better. It does checksums. And it looks at the file names and all, and the sizes and the dates, but it does checksums too. Now, FileZilla doesn't do checksums either. So Lucky Backup is the way to truly get good, accurate backups and to not have newer files overwritten by older ones by accident and stuff like that. Because especially when you're doing, especially if you're doing it over, even though you're doing, I always thought as long as you did SFTP, secure FTP, it would get the real date of the file, but not in FileZilla. You got to set everything just right, or it will just be like regular FTP, where regular FTP that's not secure, you can only get today's date. Every one of those files will get a new date. It'll be right now when you did the transfer, and that screws everything up. I learned that the hard way over the years. But so all that going around about to say that's what I'm going to start doing. What I had originally planned, now I've got another idea now. I had originally planned, and I said that a while ago, that's why I spent all that time on the Fedora 14 looking around and figuring things out. I had originally planned to back up the oldest stuff on the Fedora 14 to this drive first, and then go newer. Then go to this drive. Then just go to this drive here, this backup drive. And well then maybe for good measure go to this operating system here, you know, that I'm running here. And then you really, the hardest part, especially when you got a lot of data, is getting to that point to where, okay, this backup drive has today's newest files. There's no new files on the old backup. Now I can reformat it to whatever it is I'm wanting to do with it, which is what I'm thinking I'll probably do, is put it in maybe in the Lenovo i5 and make it its new hard drive. I still have to. Well, I'd have to see how much I fill up the 8 terabyte drive. If I fill it up too much, I might end up needing to go back to that idea of making a network backup server. Put both of those big drives in a desktop machine. Well, I could use the IBM. It's only a 32-bit, but the only reason I wanted 64-bit for my web servers so I could run some fancy new web applications, that need 64-bit. Just for file backups, it doesn't really have to be 64-bit. Of course, I'd probably end up running into something that I wished I had 64-bit. That's what happened with the last time when I was using the IBM. I said, I want to try that stuff out, and I installed it on Fedora 23 server, and then some of it wouldn't work because it needed to be 64-bit. I don't know why it installed, but then wouldn't run. But it did. But anyway, but I can still start with the backing up the RedBlackBioStar even if all I do is just get my USB stick and make sure everything's working here. I might get my USB stick. I've got these two, which I've showed a bunch of times, but I'll show them again. Fedora 29, one of them is the server install, the net install. That's net install for the server, which you can actually install. Doesn't have to be server. You can select quite a bit different scenarios in there. And then this is 28. It's not 29. I need to put 29 on there, really. Well, maybe it is 29. I've got a... Oh, that's weird. I don't know what I've done. It says Fedora 28, and then there's a red 9 after it. Oh, that's because I didn't get the old 9 off of there. I put 9, and I had some sort of trouble. But it's mate Fedora 28. That's what it is. Yeah, and I put 9 on there, had some sort of trouble with it. I remember that now, and then took it off. I guess I didn't go get the alcohol, and the alcohol will take that off of there. Well, unless the one I wrote it with wasn't as easy to erase. If I just use a eraser, then it's pretty hard to get it all off. But anyway, I will go ahead and go to Fedora 29 now because it's been out long enough. It's been a month since it came out now, so. And I've been messing with it in the server, trying to get I've got XFCE desktop working, and I haven't got it to where I still haven't got my GUI logon screen working. I finally realized I need to. I was hoping that if I just ran the desktop installs, I would get the software for the logon screen, but I didn't. So I saw in one of the how-to pages it said you could either do this. It said just install mate. It was doing mate, and it said install mate desktop, and then it'll be there, but it's not there. It said, or alternatively, you can add this so-and-so, logon screen, graphic logon screen. So I'll just try that, and that will probably fix everything. Right now, I type startx and I get XFCE desktop, but I have no option to get into mate desktop. Maybe there's another command I don't know about, but startx is the old command to get from the command line to a graphic desktop. But I don't see any GUI login. It just goes straight into the desktop. So that does work, and I could use it that way, but I don't care for that. That's the only reason I put mate on there is hoping it would fix all that, and it didn't. And then turned the machine off while I was in XFCE desktop, and it was doing an update. I had set it to auto updates, which is usually great, but it was doing an update, and I was tired about like I am now, and I was going to reboot the machine, and it said, "Oh, there's a program running. You sure you want to do this?" Well, it didn't say like mate does. You have updates being installed. Do you really want to do this? It said there is a program running. Didn't even say. It would at least just said auto updates is running. DNF, it was running. DNF auto updates is running. I would have clued in and not done it, but it didn't. And I kept sitting there going, okay, should I really reboot it? Maybe it's important, but it didn't. I had that feeling, but I couldn't. I was too tired to figure it out. So I finally decided to do it, and it broke the kernel updates. And sure enough, it was a kernel. It wasn't just any update. It was a kernel update. It broke it. But I still have the old kernel that still runs, but I got to figure out There's some commands you can run to clean a broken update out. Then I'd have to go find them and do that. Either that or reformat it one more time. I might do that because I really don't need Mate Desktop just on there for nothing because it's too resource heavy for single core machine. You know, even it's a 2 gigahertz and single core, but 2 gig of RAM. That's the most you can put in it. But I don't really need. I mean, there are some Mate applications that are neat and good to have. You can run in XFCE. So I don't know. Anyway, that's what I thought I would have already gotten done by now. But since Christmas shopping, trying out the gifts to make sure they're going to work for everybody, and then I thought, well, you know what? I could have a disaster. I've got a brand new backup drive sitting here waiting for me to get set up, and if I have a disaster with, I would really could be bad that I've got it sitting there and I didn't even use it yet, you know. So I decided that was important. So I don't know about, the thing is I could, like I was just showing the USB sticks, I could just boot up to that, and then Lucky Backup is the most efficient backup utility, and I could install, well, I probably could. I mean, I've been able to in older versions. I could just do DNF install Lucky Backup, something to that effect, and install it in the live system. But that's only a dual core with 3 gig of RAM, and it's only 1.8 gigahertz, so it's all running in RAM. And if it has to run 3 days or 4 days or a week doing those backups, it might lock itself up. That's the only thing. So that's why I was thinking, well, maybe, I guess I could install, delete, you know, some of the partitions. Like the one I'm thinking of that I could delete, definitely don't need, is the one that has Artist X on it. I think it's like a 25 gig partition. Plenty no, it's not plenty. Oh, yeah, it would be enough because I installed, no, that was the server. I guess I could do that. I could install Fedora 29 server. I still need a GUI so I can install Lucky Backup and stuff. Yeah, we probably would just install Fedora 29 XFCE GUI and then install Lucky Backup on it. That would fit on 25 gig because the server, the server and the apps I wanted, quite a few apps, just fit on 20 gig hard drive, actually 19 gig. I had about 3 gig left, and that's why I ended up doing it again and putting that 80 gig hard drive in that used to be in the IBM because it had more space on there. And I'm just having to think through this, and I just realized there might actually be one more SATA on that thing. I could actually put another hard drive in it. I don't know though. I think it's a 475 watt power supply having that I'm talking about this one over here, the RedBlackBioStar, the one I'm wanting to back up. That's actually be safer. I could put like that. I have a 30 gig hard drive. I could put it in there. It's an IDE, I think. There might not be any. I don't think there's any more IDE. Well, there is one thing I'm pretty sure there's left that I could do. Yeah, because I only have one DVD drive in there. I'm looking at it. I could use the secondary, the second plug on the IDE cable. Put an IDE. I used to do that all the time. IDE hard drive on it, and then with Grub, I can use Grub to get to it, to boot to it, you know. And it doesn't have to be. Don't want it to be the default boot. I just don't want it overheating. That's the thing. But I could do that. I bet I could do that. Put that IDE hard drive in there. Install Fedora 29 on it, or 28, or just do 29. Lucky Backup. Let it run for a couple of days to a week. It'll take a good long time. Get all that back up to the 8 terabyte drive. And it will mount in Fedora, the new Fedora, it's going to mount. That's the whole point. Get that all backed up. And then go to backing up. And see, in the meantime, while that's backing up, it's a server. It runs 24/7. Then I can go, while it's backing up, I can go off and work on the server, the NetPro Max server and all that stuff. Okay, that sounds like a plan. Also, I'm too tired to write that. I think looking at my sticky note, should I write that down? No, this is my sticky note today. This tail end of this video. Maybe I'll have to write a note, see the video for my plans. But that's the best plan I've come up with. The network idea, it's fine to back up over the network. That's just fine and dandy. But not that much data, you know. And not to plan on depending on backing up large amounts of data over the network every day too. Even with the gigabit cards, it's the one hard thing about backing up over the network is keeping your well, it's hard to set. It's hard for me to set up Lucky Backup to do that remote backup over the network. It's hard to. Maybe if I kept doing it over and over, I'd get good at it, but. And then the files, file permissions and stuff, you can run into odd file permission problems and stuff. I've run into stuff like that before. Oh, there's one I didn't think of. Right there. 32 gigabyte SD card. I could put Fedora 28 on. I could actually plug it in because I'm worried about overheating that machine. With well, not. I'm not says actually. It's yes, I am worried about. Well, that is more heat, and I'll guarantee you, one hard drive makes another bunch of heat. You wouldn't believe how much more heat they make. Just go get a machine that has even just 2 hard drives in it, and touch either one of those hard drives and see how hot they are. This one's got lots of fans in it, and that's why I get away with it. And it's a big box. It's got a vent, you know, it's got the vents in the back, 120 millimeter fan in the back, a fan on the left side, you know, like an 80 millimeter fan. It's got the CPU fan, a fan in the power supply. Well, and there's one, I think probably the biggest reason why I get away with it is that power supply was actually too big to fit in the normal power supply spot up in the top of the case. This is just a standard case with the power supply in the back at the very top. And I had to drop it down. It's a big case. I had plenty of room. I dropped it down, and so almost the full width of where the power supply normally goes is just wide open for airflow. And I don't have a grate over it or nothing. I mean, I didn't really have anything to put over it. So it's been open all these years. So all that heat can just pour out of there. It actually turned it into a cool, you know, there's Cool Master brand. Well, it's a Cool Master case, but it's not branded Cool Master. It's a master of being cool. So I've never had trouble with it overheating, with the drives overheating or anything. And I have had before. My old Pentium 4, you know, it's a big case, not as big as this one, but I think I put 3. I know I ran 3 hard drives in it for a long time, and it was only a 350 watt power supply. Well, it burned up the power supply. That was before I understood that you can't push those power supplies. I understand now. After burning that, well, I've had several of them burn up, but not because I pushed them hard anymore like that, but because ever since about 2001 or 2, when the bad cap syndrome hit the world, anything made, but for those, especially in those years, for about 5 years or more, those power supplies are dainty. They will break. The caps will swell up and pop, and they will break. And so will the motherboards. Anything capacitors. I'm saying caps. If you don't know what caps are, they're capacitors. If you don't know what capacitors are, go watch Dave's EEV blog on YouTube and find out, or whoever else you might think's interesting that does electronics videos. But yeah, that's big enough. That's a little, even 2 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes instead of 30, bigger than that little hard drive. That would not introduce any more heat, and more importantly, it would not introduce a large current draw. I mean, it's going to be in the milliamps instead of in the amp. So many, I don't know how many amps a hard drive draws, but it's much more than you would think. I remember that. I'm not going to throw up a guess. I'm terrible at remembering numbers. It's crazy. Something I'll deal with all the time, or I like, I'll remember its model number, and I'll quote it over and over and over, except for one day I'll get it completely wrong. But other numbers that I would think I would remember, I can't remember. But anyway,
if it's just being a temporary thing, then yeah, this has nothing on it but FAT32 file system now. I got my easy to boot was just, I could not get it to defrag, get my easy to boot system to work again, multi-boot system. What I finally realized is I think I've written to it too many times, or maybe it's actually not that great of a quality. This is actually a strontium, no, this is a strontium adapter. Those I've had no trouble with. Well, I haven't had any trouble with I have 2 strontium 64 gigabyte SD cards and 2 Wintec. It's the Wintec that is giving me, that's got to where I can't get it. It wouldn't work with easy to boot anymore. But that's when I learned about SD flash memory being much more picky and much harder. Well, I've just learned other ways, but well, with my my Raspberry Pi, it also has an SD card of full size. It broke. I don't know how many times I had to fix it. The file system broke when the power would go out and stuff like that. I thought it was the Raspberry Pi, but it's because it doesn't. Well, it didn't have a power switch, and if you wanted to turn it off, especially if it hung up and you couldn't shut it down, what you should do is shut it down in the software. But if you can't and you just unplug it, that's just like lightning strike and the power going out. Well, not like a lightning strike, but it's like your power going off in your house, same effect, and it would break the break the file system, which broke the operating system. I know I had to fix it. Anyway, that's only a 4 gigabyte card anyway. But yeah, I had kind of thought I'd put this in the Raspberry Pi. That right now that doesn't matter when a hill of beans. I mean, I don't have time to mess with that. This one here, it would be a part. Yeah, that's the thing I could do. I can put this. See, this is the kind, I guess it's called micro SD card, kind that fits in your phones, and it did come with a regular adapter, regular size SD card adapter, and I had it out because I was thinking about putting it in the Raspberry Pi and all that stuff. Well, actually, I had it out because I was thinking about putting it in the Acer laptop and installing an operating system on it and doing that. But that was kind of more to play, and I thought, put that away and quit. You don't have time to play right now. So then I got to thinking about putting a hard drive into the Acer laptop, and making it a backup server. But the problem there is it's the only. I guess I could get no. You couldn't. If they sold them, they wouldn't work. If you tried to make a gigabit USB adapter, it wouldn't work on USB 2.0. Maybe, I don't know. I forgot how fast 3 is supposed to be. Maybe it was fast enough there, but not 2.0, because that's only going to be, I think the average speed, the real life speed would be more like 450 megabits, and I think the top is around 500, if I remember right, on USB 2.0. Of course, gigabit's 1,000 megabits, so right at that. It's probably not exactly just like megabytes and gigabytes and all that. But yeah, that machine will boot to USB, so I can put it in there, let it be in there as a drive, leave it in there, install Fedora on it, and looking to see if I could put it in the front, and whether or not my microphone stand would hit it, my boom stand would hit it when I'm moving it back and forth. I'll figure that out. I got a couple of ports in the back. I could put it in one of those, but I'll have to have. I know I have 2 open ports. There might be more that I'm just going by what I feel when I stick my fingers back there. And then there's 2 on the front. So if that would fit in the front, and then I can plug the 8 terabyte drive in the back like I've been doing, and then that's actually all I would need to be able to back that thing up. So maybe that's what I'll do, unless I change my mind tomorrow, unless I find out that that's not the best idea, or I have something I have to do. Probably tomorrow I may do that. If all I do is just install a basic operating system and install Lucky Backup and don't get into setting anything up, then it shouldn't take forever. famous last words. And I can actually do what I've been trying to do. Get that. I was about ready to say, well, I guess I won't try to back that up now. And do something, deal with it later, kind of what I've been doing for years. And nothing, gets done with it. But maybe, I guess I can do that. Back it up. Well, before I run the backup, I want to look and see just how much space am I going to be filling up on that drive. I guess, you could do it with... I've been saying that it's hard to figure out, but really it's not that hard. You can get a pretty close approximation just by sizing up the hard drives. This is my solar calculator from the 80s, people. Why can't we power our cars from straight solar when you can run a calculator from straight solar in the 80s? I guarantee you they're hiding some kind of NASA technology that we should have by now. Let's start a conspiracy theory. I'm going to have another cough drop. This made me hopeful. That calculator made me hopeful that I would be able to run my home off of solar within, 5 or 10 years of when I bought this. I can't remember what year I bought this. Can't remember if I bought it in like 82 or 86 or something like that. And yeah, and they talk, I love to watch electronics videos, but some of these younger guys don't know that this technology, they think some of this stuff is so wonderful that can be done with solar and stuff that they have right now, that they're marketing right now. Some of it was done and sold, and I've got one of them. Low power, they call it low power technology or whatever. This is very low power. This solar cell is not as good as the one you could get. Well, from what I understand, it's not as much output. It's good. It's still working. It's not as much output as the one you could get now of the same size. Monte Python, Monte crystalline cells, and this and that and the other they're always talking about. But this, there's no battery in this thing. Never has been. It does not. There's no place to put a battery. Runs just from the light bulbs in your house, and it doesn't even matter. I just now realized it doesn't matter what kind. Of course, when this was made, everybody had incandescent light bulbs. Well, people had fluorescent bulbs, but I've ran this in the last few years. I've had the little swirly incandescent bulbs in this room, and I didn't really like the harsh light they had. And those things are actually made so poorly they're dangerous. When they get older, they burn up. They just flat burn up and smoke and melt themselves. They scare me. Now I've got LED bulbs. They're shaped just like a regular incandescent bulb, but they're LEDs. And I've been seeing some videos on how some of them are made really poorly, and that scares me too. I haven't had trouble with the ones I've got, but haven't any of them gone out yet. And they've been in there at least a year now. But the incandescent bulbs, they used to last for years, easy to last 3 or 4 years. Now, you're lucky if they last a year. They usually go out in 2 to 6 months. They've done that on purpose. Poor quality, make more money. Yes, planned obsolescence is a thing, kids. It's a real thing, and it's been around long before I was born, much less you were born. And I'm old. If you don't believe me, go to heaven and ask my grandpa. He taught me about it. He's not here now. He can't talk to you right now. But back to my calculator. Okay, so I had 320 gigabyte hard drives. That'd be 320 times 3 equal. See, I can do math with my calculator if I can hit the right buttons. That's 960 gigabytes. Yeah, I know you could do that in your head, couldn't you? Plus, I'm just going to say 1,000 gigabytes. Okay, that's 1,960 gigabytes. Now, those drives aren't completely full, but so that's about 1,960 gigabytes. Well, now let's get to Mr. Google and find out what that is in terabytes. Have you already figured it out? I haven't. I've been watching all these comedian guys. They're funny, trying to be funny on their videos. And now I think I'm a chameleon. I'm turning into a little bit of each and every video that I watch. I watch a lot of videos too when I'm not making my own. When I'm not making my own, I don't get to watch as many. But usually what I do is watch a few. Sometimes I watch some, usually, well, not usually, but sometimes I watch them when I get up. And sometimes until I wake up enough to be able to do anything. And usually I'll watch them while I'm eating and before I go to bed. Sometimes you spend more time doing that than if you would have watched a couple of hour-long shows or a whole movie. Okay. What did I have? 1960. That was a good year. Ha ha ha. That's what the old folks used to always say. Now I'm an old folk. I saw an old friend yesterday. They came and saw me. I hadn't seen in years, and the memories, I think, reminded me just how old I am. Again, as if the aches and pains I feel every time I wake up at night and have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night didn't make me feel old. For some reason I've been waking up aching with aches and pains. 1960 gigabyte equals terabytes. Either way, I just want to know. Okay, that made it work. 1.96 terabyte. I thought I was going to say that's about 2 terabyte, but I thought that can't be that much. But it is. This is what I kind of figured. So somewhere around that, the 1 terabyte drive. I think a terabyte's actually. Of course, it's not actual 1 terabyte drive. And those 320 gigabyte drives weren't actually 320 gigabytes either, but anyway. I'm going to write that down while I have it. RedBlackBioStar. Drives. Roughly 1960 GB equals 1.96 terabytes. Okay, so about 2 terabytes. And that's why I didn't put it on. I don't know if I ever figured that out before, but that's why I think I did. That's why I didn't put it on my little 4.5 terabyte drive. It turned out to be little once I got it and started thinking about actually using it. So, but 8 terabyte. So I've got about 2 on there. So see, I'm going to start out with half of it being full. 2 terabytes off of that's on my 5 terabyte drive. That's what it's labeled. Conversion measurements. I need to write. There's more to it than weights and volume. I've got all my gigabytes and bytes and gigabytes in there too. So yeah, so I'm going to start out with
that thing half full, but I mean, I'll still have about 4 terabytes left to go. But see, that's already giving me second thoughts about you know, you taking the using. Well, I still think I want to take it out of its box because of the trouble with the cables and everything. I'm even leery about leaving the 8 terabyte in its box. But now that it's formatted Ext4, I can put that in any Linux system, any newer Linux system, not Fedora 14, and it'll just be a backup drive in there. Well, I mean any desktop that has room, not the Lenovo i5. It can only have one drive. That's why I was thinking it actually could be a good, if you have one really big drive that you wanted to put in it, it'd be great for that, making a backup server. You know, put an operating system on the beginning like I was showing I did in Fedora 14, and then make the whole rest of it your backup partition. and you could just, if you want, you can leave it running. Well, if you're going to have a backup server, you might as well leave it running all the time. And that would be good because it's quiet and doesn't make a lot of heat, but it's plenty powerful. Right now, it's the most powerful. It has to be my main machine. But it could make a good, well, it could make a good web server for that reason too. It's actually more web server than I need. I don't have lots of traffic or high demand, anything that's high demand or anything on the hardware. But anyway, if you put right now, that would be okay. You know, like that 8 terabyte drive in it, and if I did turn it into a backup server, that'd be okay. But I'd fill it up in another year or two. So yeah, I'm looking ahead right now thinking I really need both of those to be backup drives. If I did put an operating system on, like if I put that 4.5 terabyte in the Lenovo i5 and put an operating system on it, I probably wouldn't want to take up, I probably would want at least a gig to have full freedom to do what I want on it. Like if I started editing videos, even like right now I have the 250 gigabyte hard drive. I've done it before, so I know. 250 gigabyte hard drive is just Fedora 28 on it. I got enough room to edit a few videos, but not a lot. Definitely I would have to got like 115 gigabyte free space on it on the home directory. But you got to watch the root directory too. It'll fill up. You know, the more you add applications, the more it fills up, and I do that. So and that's actually how I fill them up. Because it's, you know, once if you start filling them up, and that's where I got hung up on some other operating systems. I couldn't. I found some apps that supposed to enlarge the root file. I found one called Auto Resize the root file system. That's what it was for, but it wouldn't work. It didn't work. I had it on a Fedora 23 system, and it would just fail. It would fail on the boot. It was in the boot message. It never did work, and I didn't ever figure out. Didn't even really tried a little bit, I guess, but I didn't ever work hard at trying to make it work. So that's what happened to the Fedora 23. Finally, made me have to do something. Is I kept having to go into the root. I'd install a couple of apps, and then I'd have to go back and uninstall apps. So it would keep running. You know, I'd get down to 1 gig left, and the cache will fill that up in a few days of watching videos and stuff. And just the normal it's not more than just watching videos. There's all kinds of things that will fill up your root file system while you're just running a system. For instance, if you edit audio or if you edit a video or anything, you've got temp files. You know, that's something about all that. And then you've got the file that you rendered. You got to have enough space to render that video, you know, and all that stuff. So if you've got say you've got, like me, these long videos, and I was really going to edit them, I'd have, like today, I'll probably have a couple, I'll probably could go look and see what I've actually got. Yeah, they're right there. So, like, for instance, today I've got some little test videos, and then I've got a 2.1 gigabyte, and the one I'm making right now is up to 2.4 gigabytes, a couple 100 and something megabytes.
So say if I edited today's videos, then I would need space for that. And let's say, I'm not going to do it, of course, but what if I broke them down into 30-minute slots, but I wanted them all. I didn't want to, I just wanted to edit them and make them better, take out the extra junk. So then I would end up with, 4 or 5 videos out of that one, 4 videos out of that one. Maybe some of that would go in there. Realistically, if I was going to do that, I probably would just make them an hour. It'd just be an hour TV show, I wouldn't even, 30 minutes just wouldn't work for me. Everything I do takes too long, and even if I cut out all my rambling, just to the actual stuff that's I think is worth sharing, let's close that now. So I don't know why I'm going through all this right now, but it takes a lot of space to edit videos. That's why I was thinking, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have that 5 terabyte, 4.5 terabyte drive in the Lenovo i5 as its main drive. And at first I thought, well, I could operating system on, say, a terabyte for the operating system, the rest for backup. Well, that's not enough backup. That would be okay to have, like I was saying before, having 2 copies of the files. I could have a backup partition on there and have the files sort of a temporary backup. Like my newest files would be on there for a while until it filled up, and then and they would also, that machine as it's running would be using Lucky Backup to back up to my 8 terabyte backup drive, which I guess would be USB plugged into it. What I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do, unless I end up changing my mind and setting up a backup server. And so I could do that. That's kind of more how I used to do it in the RedBlackBioStar. Well, RedBlackBioStar, all my backup drives were in it, and as I ran out of space, maybe I would either get a machine with another drive in it, or buy another drive, or whatever. Get a machine with a drive and take it out, because it was an older machine or whatever, and put it in there. But having a bunch of smaller drives, it really wastes those drives, because they can be used. They're 320 gigabytes away. That's a lot bigger than 250 gigabytes, what I'm running on right now. And that's actually an okay size for just a daily operating system drive, But nowadays it's not big enough for any backups if you're making videos or working with audio or both. Once in a while I do some audio. Not too long ago I copied some cassette tapes to when I was still having my Fedora 23 system before I did the 28 on here, and it was too full, and Jeff, the guy that's giving me most of these old computers, asked me if I could copy a cassette tape to a CD for him, and or he wanted to put it on a CD. And so, I ran it through my mixer. That's why some of these are plugged in over here. Through the VAMP, I set a different. I didn't run it through. Well, maybe I did run it. No, I didn't run it through this one. I ran it through. I set up a special. Yeah, I think C has it on there now. I set up a special effects to try to make the CD sound a little better than what's on a cassette, but not mess it up, But and oddly enough, I had just been doing that. I did one of I had a cassette of an old band that I liked, and I didn't have a CD. I had a cassette, and I wanted a CD to put, that I could play in a CD player. So I copied it using Audacity, open source audio software. I recorded it with Audacity. I ran it through here, recorded it with Audacity, and then burned it to a CD. And I did the whole thing. I made tracks, and I had to follow all their instructions because the
don't think I'd ever done it with Audacity before. I used to do it with Nero in Windows years ago when I was making my albums and stuff. So anyway, then, and it just so happened after I did that, I don't know, maybe I messed up and mentioned to him that I'd done that. And he's like, oh, hey, do one for me, you know. I don't remember now. But anyway, I didn't mind doing it at all, but it ended up taking forever, of course. But anyway, I did that cassette. Well, I think I ran it 3 or 4 times because it was live recordings from a church and there was a bunch of different recordings stuck on a cassette from different years. What they did was, you know, record the whole service, and then there was a bunch of different, it was for several years worth, and so it was special events, different volume levels, different singers, different EQ, different everything. It was pretty all over the place, but it was some good singers, and just meant a lot of good memories for him and the person. There was a lady that he was wanting to do it for, an older lady, so that she could have a nice CD. Well, I immediately realized, well, you know, a cassette, you either have to sit there and fast forward, or you just put it in and let it play. And that's the thing about copying. Yeah, you can copy a whole cassette to a big long file and then dump it on a CD, but you can't even fast forward. You either play the whole thing or you turn it off. That's it. There may be some newer fangled CD players that could, you know, fast forward through a long file like that, but most all of them won't. Computer players won't. The ones I have won't. So I knew I needed to put in tracks. You have to add tracks. Well, that is a lot of freaking work, especially with like 20 songs. So I did all the audio engineering work, and I gave him several different. It was really hard to get them sounding good. So I wasn't happy with this one, so I would do it again, and that one, and I'd do it again. And so I gave him all my mixes, and I said, "Here you go. You pick the ones you want." And I gave him the links to the Audacity instructions, because he had never done it before at all. And but he used to run sound too, so he's familiar with, he understands it. So he just hadn't done as much recording and all that stuff as I have. Not editing, audio editing. He's done a lot of recording, but not a lot of audio editing or video. Well, I don't know about video. I think he's done plenty of video editing. He uses Windows, but he's done a lot. Yeah, he's done a lot of video editing. Anyway, but audio editing, kind of basically remastering. That's what I was doing, remastering. Anyway, I gave him all the different copies. Had him come over here, and I copied him to a USB stick for him. It was like 10 gigabytes of music. That's what it ended up being. And gave him everything he needed to know. I don't know if he ever finished this project, but then he was, burned it to a CD. Hopefully what he did was set up his tracks, burn them to the CD, pick the ones he wanted. They don't all have to be from the same master, remix that I did. And burn them to a CD as he wants them, and kind of pick the ones he thought sounded the best, because I just couldn't. The more I listened to it, the more I got stereo ear. I just couldn't decide anymore. Sometimes I do another one in it, and I thought, no, I think that sounds worse than the first one, And when you do it, and when I was spending all day, every day for like 3 or 4 days, I just wore my ears out. But I was trying to get it done. So anyway, that, if I did more of that, which now that I'm older and I mix band for loud sounds, I mixed sound for loud bands for 12 years in a row there in the 90s, mostly, kind of late, 80s, 90s. I damaged my ears, and so now I can't stand to listen to music up loud enough that I used to think I couldn't hear it, I have to keep turning it down to where I can't even hear what the words are. And I sit there, when I listen to music now, I have to ride the volume. I have to, when it's low and I can't hear the words, I turn it up a little, and then when it starts getting a little more louder, and every song has its ups and downs, the volume and tempo and intensity and all that. And I'm not talking about listening to any of the loud hard music like I used to listen to. I still like it, but I can't hardly listen to it for very long anymore. Anyway, I was listening to some music today, and while I was eating, and YouTube, music on YouTube, and watching live videos. What it was, live videos. It's really good, really well done. Good, nothing wrong with it to irritate your ears or anything. But I kept having to turn it down, and then I'd have to turn it back up, turn it down, turn it back up. I would just set what was the volume I wanted and leave it, I can't do that anymore. So that's why I don't do much audio mixing and stuff, mastering, mixing, redoing and stuff. I used to think maybe I could make money at it, once I learned how to do it on the computer, like remastering stuff for people, digitizing music, digitizing videos and stuff. It ends up being tedious to your mind and your eyes and your ears, but especially me now because I blew my ears out mixing sound over the years. So don't do that, kids. Listen to your parents, your grandparents. Listen to your old granddaddies and everybody, and turn that daggum music down a little bit. You ain't gonna do it, are you? I didn't. Anyway, I don't know why I tend to. Lately, I've had so much trouble with. I get on sidetrack rambles, and then when I get tired, and when I'm just getting ready to quit my video, I really start rambling and just telling off the wall stories. I'm looking at my OBS Studio interface here, my preview, and I saw something I've never noticed before. There's a little square. Guess I can show it. Okay, right here at the bottom right, it has some information about your stream. Live, it says dropped frames. So many, but it's 4.4%. That's not too bad. Live, I've been live for 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 30 seconds. Record, I've been recording for 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 34 seconds, 36 seconds. CPU usage, 24%. 30 frames per second, and then that little green, there's kilobits per second, and that's what's going. That's how much you're using. How much I'm uploading. See, it's not too much. It's not. It's more than I was thinking. I was thinking I was staying around. Well, that's kilobits. Kilobits per second. So yeah. So that's almost 2,600 kilobits. So that's about 2.5 megabits is what it would be per second. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, the green box, it turned yellow and it turned red. And I instantly thought, oh no, my stream has gone red. And I looked over at my preview on the laptop, but it was still green. So I don't know what that actually represents, but it's either about the frames per second or the kilobits per second, but it actually turned colors. And that mesmerized me for a second there. But I'm looking at my backup video. This is a cool program. It's a fantastic program. So I think I came up with a plan. Maybe I should have started writing it down. What did I write down? I'm going to really write that on there. See video. Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't have a name for it yet, so I'll just say the 12/21. It's almost Christmas. At end, for my plan, Stan. Okay. I bet you, if you do know what song that was, I never really liked that song, but it's one of those songs, once you think of it, it never leaves your head. Get a new plan, Stan. Slip out the back, Jack. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about now. I didn't like it. I thought it was a really, of course I knew it was catchy. Couldn't deny that. But the rap, it's really more of a rap than a song. You know, it's not really singing. Not that I criticize that. I mean, I was into grindcore metal, so that's not exactly singing either. Although I really always thought, you know, that I love the music, and I think I would like it better with actual singing. And that's what I wanted to do myself, but I never got to. I never found any musicians. I can't play. I found any musicians that wanted to do that, so I never got to do it. Now I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand the noise. But not enough to. Oh, there it went yellow again. That little box. But the song, yeah, that song. I don't remember the name of the guy's a famous guy and all that stuff. But I just never liked cruel lyrics. I thought it was very cruel. The whole idea that was kind of cool and funny, you know, to everybody. I thought it was cruel, and I didn't like the whole idea. But I always thought of how you should really do it. I would counterpart those lyrics in my head. I've always listened to the lyrics, always been into them, and I always care about the meaning and the story they tell. So in my head, when I would hear that song, I would be like, I'd be going through in my head. I usually would never. Sometimes I would say it out loud because the song would start aggravating me. Because it used to back in years ago when it was new, it was on the radio all the time, even when you didn't want to hear it, you know. And anyway, I would go through my head of what they really should do, you know. Or sometimes I would twist it around and say what the person they were sneaking away on would do to them, you know, and stuff like that. I can't think of any of that now, but I don't know why that came into my head. Glitchy little sayings come into my head a lot. Cliche little sayings. I was always careful. I didn't like to repeat cliches. I don't care now. I think it's funny. But, of course, me being, I like to write poems and songs. I tried to always write songs and that were the opposite of cliches, you know, something more, there's nothing really truly original. But I tried to find things that seemed more original or anti-cliche, opposite of cliche or whatever. Usually, sometimes I would just play on well, again, I didn't like cliches, but I like rhymes. I think a good lyric should rhyme. It should have a good flow and it should rhyme. And, you know, some musicians are really good and they can make music go with just about anything, but if it's painful to say it or sing it without music, then it's not going to be any more enjoyable with music, no matter how great that music is. I just pretty much almost could guarantee. All of the songs that people actually, you know, end up liking for years on end, they all have a good flow. They don't have to be rhymey, you know. Rhymes are great. I like them, but they don't all have to rhyme. But they need a good flow and a good. Well, I'll just say say it that way. That's what I like. My mom, see how many times I can say mom in 1 minute. Sometimes I get tired of hearing myself say that in my videos. I notice when I'm listening back, you know, I listen back to them and rename, you know, give them a rename them, because, you know, my default name is just live stream Don Bishop, and then I give them a description. That's what I was trying to say. And I try to go through, especially when they're long, and every time something, especially something that I put in the title, because I try to, you know, like give it the title, try to make it a short synopsis of what's going on in the video, you know, or whatever, however you want to say that. A headline, you know, and then so I try to find those headlines, the things that I think are most important in the video, aside from all my sidetracks and other things that go on in the video. I try to find those points of time, because on the YouTube, I never remember to mention this, but I'll just mention it right now and show it if anybody actually ever looks. And if you don't know this already, I discovered it quite by accident. Well, I discovered that I could do it on my videos. I think the first time, you know, that I saw it in a comment, I think, and then I started seeing it in descriptions. I'll go to my channel here. Okay, so there's me live now. Now I'll go to my last video. I was waiting for something to come up besides a white screen, but oh, that's what it looks like right now. That's why it looks like that, because that's what I'm seeing on my preview, because it's I'll stop it before it starts playing. Yeah, now it's showing. Now it's changed. Okay, now this video. Well, isn't that special? Oh, I haven't renamed it yet. I didn't read the title. Okay, so this is what they look like. Non-visual live stream, YouTube live broadcast. My standard blurb, you know, that just in every video. And then now I have to go back. Okay, now here's one. Oh, that's the live now. Okay, yeah, I've already made a video today that I haven't renamed yet. So the last one I renamed, I usually make my videos, go to bed, and then get up, lately anyway, get up, rename them and do all that stuff, and then start working and making new videos again. And see, my videos aren't just making videos, I'm actually trying to get work done, but I figure I might as well make videos and share what I know or learn or whatever. Now here's the last one that I did, working on, you know, about the 8 terabyte Seagate drive, and I gave it a name. Won't mount, Fedora 14, does not support. And they don't get you but pretty short. They used to let you make a whole lot longer title, and now they won't let you put more in there. So you really have to get creative with making a title that will explain the video, especially when it's long. Anyway, does not support new Ext4 features, part 4. That's part 4 of this 8 terabyte Seagate drive series now. And so I'll go through, give it a fairly detailed description unless I'm in a big hurry. And unless I'm in a big hurry. Okay, here we are, we're at, you know, 02 seconds in. Now if you click right there, I put that time, well, all you do is look where you are in the video, and you see I do, well, that's why I ran some commands, and I do research on the problem at 5134, jumps to 5134. And so it's sort of like a form of editing, you know. At least it gives people a way to get to a spot. And so, you know, a lot of people know this, I think, but I don't always think about it. Sometimes I do. If I see that someone's rambling like I do, but I'm interested in their video, I look down in sometimes I don't watch them anyway, but full screen, you know, I watch them like that. But you can hit escape, get back down like that, and see, well, did they put any, or did someone else comment? Sometimes other people, there's no comments on my video, but someone else comment and say, hey, here's an interesting point. Usually if they do this, they put, oh, this is a mistake, you're a dummy, you know, that's what they do. But I mean, it's funny because you got somebody that's like explaining electronics, and they're an electronics engineer, and the person there doesn't know 1/4 of what they know, but they point out some silly little mistake, you know, like they said a word wrong or whatever. I don't know, I can't even think of an example. But anyway, I clicked on that one, so I got to that next section, which I didn't read what it was, but I found the answer. See, I found the answer to the problem, so I put where that is, and I go just a little bit ahead so that it's in context, you know. Sometimes I may go a little too far ahead, but sometimes it's hard to. I've spent as much as 4 hours doing this before, not long ago, and I thought that's ridiculous. You know, I could not have edited that video in 4 hours. It would have taken me 8 to 18, 16 hours probably. It generally takes me 6 hours to 8 hours to edit a video down to an hour or down to 30 minutes or whatever. I've used to do it, but I'm not doing that anymore unless I really feel like it's a special occasion. And then, And this is where I went over my, and this is really for me more than anybody. This one here, I go over my options here. So if I want to go back and see where I just going over what I've been doing here for the last 30 minutes, I can go there. So some of them are actually really may only be interest to me, but that's, you know, I've really learned here since I've been making a lot more new videos lately. While I'm working on stuff, it's a huge help to me because when I'm renaming them and all that, I get to see, you know, I don't watch the whole video. I skip through it, but I get the rhythm and flow of it and what I'm saying, and I skip through it, find those key points, and as I do, and if I do see something like what I was just talking about, I'll watch, you know, like a whole several minutes there of it when I'm talking about my plan or my options or the things that I forgot, or like what I did yesterday. My memory's just not at all good anymore, so I'll watch back through the video. Well, I'm watching back through the video to rename it and to give it a title and all that stuff. Give it a title and description. So while I'm doing that, that refreshes my mind and I remember what I did yesterday. And so then by the time I do all that, I'm ready to get back started where I left off. Used to, I could remember what I did a month ago, you know, in detail when I was young, but now, heck, I can't remember what I did yesterday hardly. Some days I can, but most days I really can't. So it's actually turned into a big help for me. So even though I don't have all kinds of people watching and all that stuff, it helps me. And maybe, you know, I have had a few comments here and there where somebody were watching it, and so you don't know how well, I mean, you can see how many views you get, but you don't know whether or not it's helping anybody or anything unless somebody says something. So I do like it. Of course, I've had I never got any bad comments until lately. In the last couple of times somebody commented, it was just smart aleck comments. So, you know, I'll reply to the decent comments, but the smart aleck ones I just don't even reply. If they were really bad, I'd just delete them. And if they kept doing it, I'd block the person. But hadn't had that problem yet. I don't get enough views to have that problem. It's funny, every time somebody gets really popular, I'll start watching somebody and I like their videos and I'll watch them for 6 months or a year, and then they get really popular and then they start getting lots and lots. It's sad really because they get lots and lots of trolls, you know, mean negative comments and just everything under the sun, and you can tell when you see the comments. I don't read a lot of comments because of that, because it aggravates the heck out of me, just even when it's not about me, you know. And that's what they want. That's the whole point. That's what they're trying to do to the person making the video. They're just there to aggravate people because somehow that satisfies them. You know, they're just that weird. So, while I'm flipping through, that's just a nervous habit, flipping through stuff when you don't know what else to do. So I'll quit doing that. I know that really plays tricks on the eyes. Okay, so anyway, there's that. I thought about, you know, a lot of people say they have these things they say like click subscribe. Of course, everybody does that, and I just, you know how to do that if you're interested. And I'm sure it does help. I mean, for me, sometimes it reminds me, but I just don't want to say that stuff over. It's bad enough going in circles and rambling. I don't want to say that kind of stuff over and over and over. I'd forget. And that thing I just showed, I've been thinking, well, you know, that's one thing that I debated about trying to remember to say that at the beginning of the videos. And there was a couple of things I did try to do like that, and I couldn't remember to do it. So I do good just to tell you what I'm going to do, explain what I'm doing, and then and actually do it. I try not to spend too long going over what I'm going to do and just try to get to it, and I'm not too good at that sometimes. And I try not to go too long and rambling on like I'm doing now, but sometimes I do it anyway. I notice a lot of, I guess when you hit around 40, 45, you start getting more and more that way. A lot of the guys I like to watch working on cars, and I used to do that a lot. I did that when I was younger. I'm really into working on cars, building hot rods and stuff. they tend to do that a lot. And I just, unless it gets really rambly, I just sit there and watch them. I don't even really, it doesn't even bother me. You know, they're talking about, I understand, I know what they're talking about, you know. But if there's like something they said, okay, I'm fixing to do, they're really, I want to see them fix something or build something or whatever, and they're rambling, then I'm like, okay, show me, don't tell me, show me. You know, I'll sit there and say that. Don't tell me about it, show me. And but boy, it's easy to do it. It's easy to get off talking about it instead of just doing it. But I was, in my defense, I got too tired to continue working. I would have screwed things up like I did the last time on the server, breaking my new. I don't know if I've ever broken a kernel update before like that. As a matter of fact, in that video, I was talking about be careful. I was saying I like to use auto updates. There is one drawback that could cause you a problem, you know, breaking. If you shut down the machine or the power goes out or something like that, you break an update, and that's a pain. But that hasn't happened to me hardly ever. Happened to me in that video. Famous last words. So, and I'm actually dreading trying to fix that thing. And I was going to go ahead and make myself get back to it, and then I realized that I really should back things up before something actually does happen to all my data. I realized how many single copies of videos. My videos are, you know, one of my most important things to me. They're keepsakes, you know. I spent a lot of time, effort, and hard work making them. So, and of course, the ones that are already on YouTube, I do have that extra. I do have that extra copy of them, but not all of them are on there. I have a bunch that are not. That I haven't ever uploaded yet. I have well, a bunch that are on Google Photos that got automatically uploaded from my phones and stuff that I still haven't done anything with. Some of them I held back on purpose. I did a whole bunch. I think it's going on 2 years ago now, and this is what happens when you think I'm going to do it later or I'm going to edit it. And I have a bunch that are on my hard drives that I'm trying to get really backed up, and then they're also on Google Photos of when I was working on my Blazer, when I took the carburetor off and was going to rebuild it, and then I got down in my health and couldn't finish it. And then one thing led to another, not feeling good or having to work, you know, having computer work that was more important to do is what I got going on now. And till the carburetor's still in the garage waiting on me to rebuild it and put it back on the truck. And so I can't drive my truck. I don't drive much anyway, but I like it to be ready to go when I can. And I have a whole week's worth of videos probably that I've never got. You know, they're on Google Photos, but only, you know, nobody goes, well, I think they are shared on there, but, you know, that's not a high traffic site, you know, that's people use to share with their friends and stuff. But anyway, I haven't put them on YouTube, and I'm actually saving them back because I have, I don't know why I'm showing and telling all this, but we'll do one more. Okay. Go back to my channel again. Let's see if I can. There we go. Don Bishop YouTube. Okay, and I'll show you what you can what you can mess up and what you might want to. Okay, videos. Let's see. Go to my videos. Let's see what's the best way to. You know what? I know the best way to show this. That is not the best way to show it. It's hard to find what you want to find that way. But if you go to this section where you're you know, you're working on your videos, this is a section that the public doesn't see. Yeah, they want to know what I think about being a YouTube provider. I kind of wouldn't mind doing that. If it says 15-minute survey, I clicked on it, but I'd have to read the TOS to see if I even want to get into it, because it's going to share stuff with a third party, and then if it says 15 minutes, it'll take me 30, 45 minutes to do it. I guarantee you that. But I've been thinking about it. But anyway, I thought about making a video while I was doing it. But maybe not live. Maybe make the video and then see if I actually want to share the video. But, okay, so you can search your videos right there.
Okay, my 1976 Chevy Blazer. Did I get my search going? Yeah, there we go. Okay, now I have renamed some. Well, some of them, okay, these are a little bitty short. These were on my old little camera that did, that's all it would do is the 16-second silent videos. I made a bunch of these and I was going to edit them together, you know, into something. And they just had the default name DSCN. And so the only, it's really weird. Let's see. Yeah, you still can only append. You can append. Well, put at the end. You know, you can on multiple videos you can put something on the end of the title, but you can't put something at the beginning, which is backwards to me. I would like to leave that on the end and put something in the beginning. So that's the only thing that differentiates them is that original name. And so repairing the back window. Okay, now that's just how they showed up in the search results. There's a bunch of those. Now, these are on Google Photos. I got them all uploaded to Google Photos off of a Windows machine several years ago now. And I have a whole series that I made, and I was going to edit them. It was going to be a major project. Those were just snippets that were going to go into the editing. For years, I never got the editing done, so finally I just uploaded them. That one includes copyrighted content because I had the radio going in the background. And it actually distorted because I had it up too close to a condenser mic and up too loud. You can really not even understand any of it. And that did matter back then because I was actually part of the YouTube partner thing where I got up to $20 some odd, and then they kicked me out because I didn't have enough subscribers, just like they did. I don't know how many, probably millions of people. I don't know how many people they did that to. That's another thing, but that's why I might want to do that survey and tell them what it's really like being a YouTube creator. There's another one that has it on there, and but yeah, some of them have a few views. But some of them have 0 views after years of being up. Well, they all have the exact same title. I screwed up big time. I made sure I got them all uploaded to Google Photos with their original titles, and they are numbered 001, 002. They're in the, to make them show you what order they go in, and they say day 1, so-and-so, what's going on, blah, 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 and actually the titles are too long. They wouldn't fit in this shortness here. Well, that might be, that probably, I don't know if that's this, how many characters you can do, but I was in the advanced setup, and I got mixed up on how to set it up. And I set my default title to that right there. And so every single one of those stinking videos ended up with that same title. Well, that killed, I'm sure I don't know what it does to search results if somebody searches for, but people, there's a lot of people want to watch videos about 4x4. So now these are made on old webcams, low resolution. I did this in 2009. I spent like 2 weeks working on that truck, and I made videos every day while I was doing it. And it has some good content, people that don't know how to do some of that stuff. I can't really do all that work. This was in the heat of the summer too. I can't do, back then it was killing me, but now I couldn't do some of that stuff. But there's another page. So I have like 100 some odd videos on the Blazer, I think. There's 3 pages there. I think it's about 100 videos. And a lot of them are, anyway, it's a whole series. They're anywhere from 2 minutes to 43 minutes, I had the cameras running. And sometimes I would stop and take those little short videos. And I also had one webcam, and I had a headset mic on, so sound. You can understand what I'm saying through the whole thing. There's some noise and stuff, but especially when the jets flew over and stuff, because it was a condenser mic and it was wired. I was tethered to a wire that whole time, and also I had another camera that I used, a security camera software that was using VLC. I used VLC to make these videos. I did a VLC stream and saved it to an MP4 file. But I also, at the same time, I had 2 desktop computers set on this rolling cart. You may have seen my work cart that I have in my room. I had them sitting on it, and had me a a redneck mobile video camera setup that I called it. And actually, I have a video of it somewhere. Oh yeah, it's not named Blazers. I don't guess so. It's not. Well, it might be in there. Actually, it probably is named Blazer 76 Blazer because it's among those videos. But oh, there's another page. There may be more pages of this than I thought. My whole point being that only thing I can do to fix this is delete all these videos, because you can't re-upload them. You know, it'll say that video's already there, which is fine. You know, that makes sense. You know, that keeps you from accidentally uploading the same video over and over. I could do that easily, especially when I transfer from Google Photos. But I have to delete them all, and I don't. So those newer videos that I've been talking about, I don't want them to. I don't want it to be impossible for me to organize with 3-4 pages of these older videos. If I remember, it is right around 100 videos. I want these to be the oldest ones so that I can say organize oldest to newest. Now, I still won't organize them right. I wish that they would. I swear YouTube used to let you organize your playlists. I'm talking about putting them in playlists. They are in playlists. I didn't even say that. I could have just went. That's what I should have done, is went to my playlist to show you that. Actually, I might have been able to. Yeah, there's the playlist. I could have done this in either. Oh, that was 196, I think it said. Oh, 1976. I guess that's what I saw. So, there's 109 videos right there, and 113 views on something that's actually a pretty well-liked subject. It's pretty bad, and I know that's the main reason is because they're all exactly the same name. They probably don't. Hardly any of them show up in the search results, and even if they did, well, if you search for 1976 Blazer and you saw all this, you would say, what the heck, you know? You might realize that there are different videos by looking at the icons, so that's probably why you might see a few views, but you don't know what's it about. Well, you see the icon of the wheel off. Okay, he's doing something there, but you know, you need a descriptive title, and so, and they do have descriptive titles. The originals, you know, and they are on Google. Luckily, I mean, it would take, actually for years I couldn't really hardly upload videos because it would kill my internet connection. I tried to get them to fix it, and if I did it, I couldn't be doing anything else, you know. But now I can, because I've got, ever since we had, and that's when we had 5 megabits. There's something wrong, but I never did get it fixed or figured out. I thought it might be my equipment, you know, and I couldn't figure it out. Well, there's one thing that I thought it might be, but I guess it wasn't, and I won't go into that, but to do with my wiring up in the attic that I can't get up there to do anything about. But when we went to 10 megabits, when we had 5 up, now we have 10 up, I get good speed tests, and I can upload now without it killing my connection. So I think it was just not enough. I think maybe when you upload to YouTube, it tries to take as much bandwidth as it can, is what I'm guessing, and it takes enough to slow down your surfing and everything else, all your other network stuff. So, yeah, these were just named, you know, that name, the default name, and then I added that to give it some sort of descriptive something, but they're all the same. So, I mean, you can see that the picture's different and that it starts out with a different name if you saw them all in a row. But they're not good descriptions, you know. They don't say back when to crank, you know, and all that. And so, now those I don't think have descriptive names. I just need to manually, and there were so many of them, I didn't do them. I did them that way. I just figured that was better than nothing. It's hard to backtrack and you know, when you don't do it as you go. I used to always name all my videos, every single video, with a descriptive name. And I started falling away from it because it got kind of overwhelming, I guess. When I started making a lot of videos, it got overwhelming. But these were named. I'm going in circles again. These were all named
anyway, they all need to be, what I'm trying to say is, I do have them in this playlist, and they're not in exactly the right order, but I did my best to get them in the right order. So what I'll have to do is delete them all, re-upload them, and then try to put the 109 videos back in order again, and then I upload the ones from, I guess it's a year. I think maybe it's a year ago, not 2 years ago. The ones where when I took off the carburetor and all that stuff. And actually, I'll just go to Google and then go to Photos, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, I like to make videos. I always have, ever since I was a kid. Well, I didn't make a lot of videos. I took a lot of pictures because I did. My grandma, I said that the other day. My grandmother gave me. She was into making videos. I guess she's the one that got me into it. Go to my albums. She gave me her Brownie 8mm silent movie camera when I was about 17, I think. But it was real expensive to use because by that time the film was harder to get, expensive, and then you had to pay more expense, even more money to develop it. But let's see, what all do I have? Yeah, there's only some of them I had to break up into 2 playlists because it was more than you could upload all at one time. It was the computers one, yeah. Okay, so here's the playlist in here. And in here, I got, here's that little video. I'll show you how, this is what I recorded it on. I don't guess it'll do any good to do that really, but I'll do it. It's just silent video. I just walked around it as it was sitting there recording. I walked around it with the other, it was a little Nikon 775, I think is what it was. That would just do like a 15, 16 second movie, and it's silent, you know. But that's how I did that whole thing, is with 2 computers stacked. That's the ones that are in the garage. One of them's my backup server now. 250 megahertz and a 500 megahertz gateway, big old CRT monitor, and the tripod that I use for my endoscope is on there with 2 webcams on there. And I just had it plugged into a long extension cord, and I would roll that in. It stayed in my room, but I'd roll it outside, or maybe I kept it in the garage once I got started. I remember I rolled it outside the first day anyway, and then maybe I kept it in the garage overnight, but I guess I did. Anyway, it worked out surprisingly well. And so here's a bunch of those short videos that I was just showing. And I guess what I was getting at was, oh, okay, here's what I can do. Where's that thing that, okay, yeah, even while you're in that mode, you can, full screen mode. Now see, there's a, where's the name? Here's the name. That's the description. I actually did that. I put a description in there. But there's a name. That one doesn't seem to have, I can't see the whole name though. That stinks. What's the point in having that if you can't see it all? Well, that made it go away. Made the whole thing quit. Okay, you can't read the whole name, so it's not going to really, okay, let's get out of that. Go to one of the other videos and maybe it'll show something. Try that one. This one probably should have sound. It's going to be loud too. Am I wrong? Are these things not have the full title? It may have the full title, but it may be, surely you can see that whole title. Maybe if I get out of full screen mode, something will work better. I don't think it'll make any difference. You can see the link down at the bottom, but you can't see the whole title. Oh, here it is, right there. That's the name of the album it's in, Dark. Okay, this is the name of the file right here. So 03, that's video 3. 76 Blazer, repairing back window, take 3. 3C. 08, 04, 08. 08? I thought it was in 09 when I did that. Maybe it was in 08. Okay, now let's see one of these others. Now these, if they have dates, they'll be wrong.
For instance, this one I didn't see that. Okay, yeah, it's just DCN 2800 movie. You know, it was a MOV file. These will all be MOV files, and then this one, I want to see if it's number 1. It's number 2. I think I couldn't find number 1, but anyway, they're not super long names. I think they would fit. Hopefully, if the last part got cut off, you know, like that much of it got cut off, even that much got cut off. I don't think it would, but maybe that much of it might actually get cut off. What happens if your file name is longer than what Google allows, then for the title, then it will just cut off the last part. But the important part would be in there, and it would give a good idea of what's going on. Right? And so even if I didn't get a huge amount of views, at least people that were looking for something would be able to find what they're interested in. You know, so that I need to do. So instead of doing it, I'll just talk about it forever. And that when those cameras would start up, they would get artifacts and stuff, and some of them kind of looked cool, and I thought, I'm going to edit those into certain places, but what it is just raw footage. That's all it is. Oh, and now we're to the newer videos. I put all this in a playlist. Now see, all those videos are in this playlist on Google Photos, but of course Google Photos is not, even though I think I did, it is a shared playlist. Anybody with the link could see it. Yeah, see, those are all the newer ones. Let's see, okay, there's the end of 2008 or 9 or whatever. Let's see. That's not in the right order, I'm sure, but, oh, that's a, can I stop that? I know what that is. That's going to be one of those, I don't know why it didn't start playing. I think it's going to be one of those Google movie things. Yeah, it's got a lot of extra stuff in there. Yeah, 2015. It's not playing, but that's good because it would be really loud. Those things are super loud. Yeah, they're not in the right order. That might be another one. No, that's an actual video. Hour and 45 minutes. You can stream as long as you want to when you're making a VLC stream, as long as you got space on your drive. But yeah, I never did get them all in the exact right order, I don't think. Actually, I missed a few, so it could be. There's some that didn't, you know, videos that didn't work. I thought they was working and it didn't. But that's video 30 there. So that is what I had thought I was going to get on my titles. And it's what I need again. What's what I need. So that was just a test outside, but I ended up liking it, and so I put it in there. But I was replacing the front wheel bearings is what I was doing. Actually, I think I only did that side. That's another thing. I only did that side, and I put new brakes on at that time. So I have the new brakes for the other side I still haven't put on yet. Oh, I was trying to figure out the date. That's what I was trying to do. Invalid parameters. I saw something in there. What kind of video? What kind of file is that? That used to play. They may have dropped support for, oh, that's an M4V. They don't support that now? I must have redone that or something, because that's not, that's going to be one of those auto-generated movies from YouTube. Why would that not work? Maybe I converted it or something. Okay. What I was trying to see was the date. Somewhere I had a date. Okay. Yeah, it's in 08. I've been saying for years that I did that in 09. It's in 08. Because that's the actual date that I hand typed into there as I made those videos. That's how I used to do, real detailed, you know. Especially if I was making a series, you know, I'd make sure I knew what order they went in. So I have to delete all of them from YouTube, re-upload them. Well, I can transfer from Google Photos. I won't lose. There's no chance of losing quality because these were 320 by 480. 320 by. Well, those might have been 160. Yeah, those are the newer webcam, I think. Anyway, they're not 720 even. They're smaller than that.
They're not even as big as the old TV format, CRT TV, I don't think. Well, I guess it tells you. It might tell you what they are. Oh, that's the wrong video again. No, it doesn't tell you the size of it or anything. It says 5 megapixel. I don't know how come it thinks that, because that they were not near that. Well, maybe they ended up coming out to that the way I, saved them. I saved them as high quality as I had room for my hard drives with using VLC. I can't remember the exact size, but the newer webcam would do a little bit bigger than the older webcam, and I think it was the older webcam I did. Did I ever finish saying that it was making still shots by movement, and I was going to edit in still shots and close-ups. Well, the close-ups I would do on the Nikon camera, and those little short close-up videos, but I was going to edit in the automatic snapshots that was being taken by the other webcam into these videos, and I never. It's a mammoth project. I was lucky I got the work done and made the videos, much less editing them. Excuse me. But then, well, let's see. That one's a real short one. This is when I took back up. That's the next time I made any videos. Well, those webcams were just not high, good enough quality that I want. Now on the cameras, I just left them to the default names, so they all have to be watched and renamed when I put them on YouTube, like I do my videos I'm making now. By that time I was making, you make 4 or 5 videos, and then it would take hours to rename them and watch them and do all that, and I'd say, well, maybe I'll do it later, and then finally I realized, well, I'll do it when I put them on YouTube. And so that's how they are. They're just that meaningless name. Okay, we're going to see. And so I was working on it. I think that might have been yeah, that's what got me started. I was working on it because it was leaking gas, and it turned out to be the fuel transfer rail on the carburetor, I believe. So anyway, I made a bunch of videos and worked on a bunch of stuff. Ended up, well, I don't know. There might have been more than one set. Yeah, that might have been even an earlier year. Let's go to, did I see the date on there? That's what I had intended to do. See that date? Okay. I'm off into, see, that's with open camera. That's 1920 by 1080. It's only 2.1 megapixel. That's all the video that those cameras will do. I'm always trying to remember that. 2.1 megapixel. I knew it was around 2. There's the date, 2016. Okay. So then, let's see, I'll just go to the newest ones now. They should be, yeah, I can see that those are newer. I remember that. So we'll go to the last one or two and see what the date is on it. So, and yeah, see, the cameras will do better quality than what I'm streaming. I can't stream any more than 720p. Okay, now that's 2017. See, so that was a year later even. The last time. So I have that many videos, new videos, that I would really like to get up, that I haven't got up yet. And there's the carburetor off and me cleaning it and everything. Went through all that, and then can't remember. I know I was wearing out. I was working on it every day, and I think what happened is something came up. I had to do. I think at first what came up was something I had to do on the computer that was real important, things I had to get done on a deadline, and then I got down to my health, plus I think it got to be winter, and now it's been, well, 17, 18, it's been a year. That carburetor is in the garage, took apart, even more than that. It's not taken apart, there's just off, waiting for me to rebuild it. I got the kit, and I got parts and everything. But anyway, yeah, all that needs to be freshly redone on YouTube, because all the older videos, all the way up to 2016, all the ones from 2008, the big project, I replaced the wheel bearings there, and boy, it takes a long time to make videos and do work, real physical work like that. And I tried to fix my tailgate window crank. The window keeps falling out of the tracks. I tried to fix that. I fixed it 100 times and it still broke. But I took it all apart, did a bunch of welding on the track, and tried to fix it. And it didn't fix it. It just really overheated it and made it really flexible, rent the temper in it. But go ahead and close that. Google Photos really uses a lot of resources. Took it a while to close there, so yep. Look at that. Machine's a bit slow. You may see that here in a minute. I can see that you're still seeing Google Photos over there now. But yeah, I forgot. FFmpeg mux. Okay, there. I was trying to figure that out the other day, or I did figure that out the other day. OBS Studio, I was trying to set it to FFmpeg. Well, that's the default. It uses FFmpeg. So I went through the settings and tried different things, and it turns out what I was using was the best thing. I don't think I ended up changing anything on the encoding of the stream. FLV flash video and FFmpeg is the encoder by default in Fedora Linux anyway. So, and I changed it to MP4 and it dang near locked up the machine. It was just too much work for it. So I used to always like MP4 better. And what's crazy is those old 350 megahertz Pentium 2 and a 500 megahertz Pentium 3. I was using the Pentium 3 to do the video, I'm sure of that, and then the Pentium 2 to do the still photos, but that I was talking about. But the 500 megahertz Pentium 3 is what I used to make those videos. Of course, that was with what is it, 680 or something? No, I can't remember. It's not 720p. It's well on down below that. Maybe it's 640. I think it would do 640 by something, that other webcam. The one that's the main camera in those old videos from 2008. But I was using the Pentium 3, 500 megahertz with probably 348. I don't think it even had, I'm sure it didn't even have 512 megabyte of RAM. It might have, but I think it's more like 348. But I was using VLC, which I've showed that before. I'm always talking about it recently, and I never really go into it because I'm trying to hurry. So since I'm rambling, let's ramble on a little more in more detail. I'm fixing to have to take a break, so you're gonna be rid of me soon. Uh-oh, my stream is going bad. Great. That's another reason to quit, isn't it? Everything's trying to tell me to quit, I guess. Okay, so we'll show you this and quit. So there you go. Convert and save is what you would do. And you'd capture device. You would use your you can use video camera jack. And now you can. This is a new version. Video camera is what it says now. It used to say V4L video for Linux, and it would pick up, whatever kind of thing that any kind of video device for any kind of video device from that Linux could do. And then I have a TV tuner. You can do that, digital and analog. I have both actually. I've lost my digital one, believe it or not. I haven't lost my analog one. It's in the RedBlackBioStar. You can do the desktop. I've never gotten audio to work with the desktop though, and it really works the heck out of the machine. But anyway, I guess I haven't done it in a long time, so I guess you would do video camera, and then if you had a USB camera plugged in, it would see it, and then that's where you would put in. Well, if I had one plugged in, you would see it, and you'd be able to use the drop-down list. Audio, okay, so you should be able to do audio. Well, you can pick the default audio devices. I'm not quite sure why there's two in there, but because I only have one audio card. Maybe one's desktop and one's input. Well, unless you can actually see the no, that's going over the network. I was going to say that the lapel mic on the camera, and it's seeing the hardware in the machine is what it's seeing. Then you pick your video standard,
and you do need to pick the right one. That will. Some of them you can pick them, but they won't work. MP4 works. Anyway. Well, and you can anyway. There, see the long list. You got to figure that out. I'm gonna hit cancel. I'm suddenly, all of a sudden it hit me. I have to have a break, and I have a bad stream anyway. So I'm rambling. I've gone through what I'm plan to do. So I'm gonna quit rambling now, and say bye bye. And tomorrow, hopefully, I'll get some actual work done instead of just research. All right, bye bye.